Christmas Eve being observed across Nepal and around the globe with prayers, lights and festive gatherings marking the birth of Jesus Christ. Nepal prepares for National Assembly elections with provincial officers appointed. Cold wave sweeps across Nepal's lowland Tarai Madhesh region, affecting daily life in at least 20 districts. ISRO successfully launches LV-M3-M6, placing India's heaviest commercial payload into orbit. Libya's army chief killed in Falcon 50 jet crash near Ankara. And Nepal prepares for 10th National Games, first Para-National Games and 2026 Asian Games participation. Good evening, I'm Smituki Singh Tamang and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Across the globe, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo, and just after midnight in Sydney. Now, the news in detail. Christmas Eve is being observed across the world today with prayers, lights and festive gatherings marking the beginning of the Christian celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. The global celebration traditionally begins in the easternmost regions, including New Zealand, where churches and communities welcome Christmas with midnight services and carol singing. As the day moves westward, cities across Asia, Europe, Africa and the Americas are joining in the spirit, with homes and public spaces illuminated and families coming together. While traditions vary from country to country, the message of peace, hope and goodwill remains central to the celebration worldwide. Global leaders and religious figures have also extended messages of unity and compassion on this occasion. Nepal's Election Commission has established election officers in all 7 provinces and appointed election officers for the National Assembly member elections scheduled for January 25. Commission spokesperson Narayan Prasad Bhattarai said district judges have been designated as election officers across the provinces. The appointments include Bhimraj Prasai Koshi, Shubhanath Puri Madhesh, Geeta Shrestha Bagmati, Himal Belbase Gandaki, Prakash Raj Pandit Lumbini, Deepak Dhakal Karnali and Bhuvan Singh Thapa Sudur Paschim. The election will fill 19 National Assembly seats set to become vacant on March 4. According to the election timetable, the voter list will be published on January 3, with the final list released on January 6. Candidate nominations open on January 7, while voting will take place on January 25 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. As the date of Nepal's House of Representatives election approaches, political parties have intensified internal preparations, particularly for candidate selection under the proportional representation PR system. This comes as a follow-up to recent announcements by the Election Commission confirming full readiness for the polls and setting deadlines for election-related procedures. According to Election Commission spokesperson Narayan Prasad Bhattrai, 93 political parties, both from the dissolved parliament and newly registered groups, have applied to participate in the PR segment of the election. The Commission has issued a detailed timetable requiring parties to form inclusive groups and submit closed PR candidate lists on December 28 and 29. These lists must reflect revised population percentages based on Nepal's 2021 national census. To support compliance with the updated rules, the Election Commission has conducted orientation programs for political parties aiming to ease the transition to the revised proportional system and ensure inclusiveness in candidate selection. As Nepal moves towards a proposed March 5 federal parliamentary election, the country is witnessing parallel efforts on two critical fronts, stabilizing a fragile political transition and reinforcing institutional credibility after months of unrest. While political parties and the interim government cautiously negotiate a path towards consensus, a cabinet-appointed probe commission has stepped up its investigation into the September 8-9 Gen Z-led protests, summoning senior leaders in an effort to fix accountability and rebuild public trust. Sabika Shrestha brings more.
As Nepal gears up for the proposed March 5 federal parliament's election, political parties and the interim government cautiously are approaching the negotiations to stabilize the fragile transition. On the other side, the inquiry into the September 8 and 9 Gen Z protests and the incidents leading even up to criminal proportion intensifies. The cabinet-formed commission has started summoning the top leaders in an attempt to clarify accountability and restore public trust into state organs. Though the timing of the summoning of then Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak simultaneously with the ice-breaking parleys initiated by President Ramchandra Paudel that for the first time brought Prime Minister Sushila Karki with leaders of top three political parties. The leaders agreed in principle to create an environment conducive to holding elections, with President Paudel emphasizing that elections remain the only constitutional route out of the current crisis. While some viewed it as the right move of the president, others are skeptical whether the commission's summoning of then Home Minister Lekhak might pour cold water all over. Unlike a top-down approach, the commission deliberately began its investigation from the ground level, questioning those who witnessed and executed decisions on the ground before moving up the chain of command.
साक्षी देख्ने घटना देख्ने साक्षीहरुको सम्बन्धमा समेत गर्दाखेरि हामी 150 प्लसमा चाहिँ हामीले उनका कागज बयान कागजहरु सोधपुछ कागजहरु घटना विवरणहरु लिइसकेका छौं अझै क्रम जारी छ त्यो चेन जोड्ने सिलसिलामा इन्भेस्टिगेसन भने तलैबाट गर्नुपर्छ माथिबाट गर्दाखेरि सुरुमा ल्यायो अब दुईटाले तत्कालीन प्रधानमन्त्री र गृहमन्त्रीले हामीले सुरुमा ल्यायो त मैले के पनि गरेका छन् भन्नुहुन्छ भने हामीले क्रस क्वेशन गर्ने ठाउँ कहाँ हुन्छ हुँदैन नि अब राजनीतिक नेतृत्व तत्कालीन गृहमन्त्री र प्रधानमन्त्री मात्र बाँकी हुनुहुन्छ र एकजना वर्तमान आइजिपी हुनुहुन्छ उहाँको सकिन्छ होला छिटो भइसकेपछि अब प्रतिवेदन तयार गर्नेतिर हामी लाग्नुपर्छ.
The stepwise investigation has now reached higher levels of political leadership. According to the Commission, preparations are underway to summon then Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli. The three-member commission led by retired Judge Gauri Bahadur Karki is tasked with examining the chain of command and potential human rights violations during the crackdown. Its mandate, initially set for 3 months, was recently extended by 1 month. In a parallel process, the National Human Rights Commission has already questioned Lekhak and begun recording statements from other former Security Council members. As election preparations advance, the certainty of the March 5 polls will hinge on whether political leaders cooperate with interim government's effort to bring accountability in the system and build the much-needed public trust in the state. As the probe commission escalates from ground-level witnesses to top leaders, its way of handling these sensitive inquiries could make or break public trust and election credibility. Sabika Shrestha with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
Meanwhile, Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal has affirmed that there is no uncertainty about Nepal's upcoming election on March 5, stressing that holding the vote on time is crucial to prevent a return to conflict. Speaking at a Karnali province-level security conference in Birendranagar, Aryal said the government formed after the Gen Z movement is committed to safeguarding the constitution and completing the election process, even amid ongoing national security challenges.
हाम्रो अहिले मूल रणनीति नै कुनै पनि अवस्थामा द्वन्द्व दोहोरिनु हुँदैन। द्वन्द्व हिंसात्मक द्वन्द्व दोहोरिँदाखेरि हाम्रो व्यक्तिगत सुरक्षाको प्रश्न त छँदैछ, तर राष्ट्रिय सुरक्षाको अवस्था पनि गम्भीर रूपमा चाहिँ खतरामा परेको हामीले देखिसकेपछि कुनै पनि अवस्थामा द्वन्द्व नदोहोरियोस्, स्थिति सामान्यीकरण बन्दै जाओस्। स्थिति सामान्यीकरण बन्दै गएपछि फेरि विधिको शासनको पूर्ण रूपमा बहाली होस् भन्ने उद्देश्य अनुसार नै हामीले काम गरेका छौँ।
Meanwhile, Acting Chief Election Commissioner Ram Prasad Bhandaria said the Election Commission has already begun preparations for the House of Representatives election scheduled for March 5, describing the poll as a constitutional obligation. Bhandaria urged political parties to submit inclusive candidates under the proportional representation system and comply with the Election Code of Conduct with closed candidate lists due December 28-29, a process the Commission says it is fully prepared to manage. We'll take a short break here. More news coming up. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World Primetime News. This evening in Nepal, Christians and people of all faiths are joyously marking Christmas Eve with heart-warming celebrations across the country. Churches in Kathmandu, Pokhara, Dharan and other cities are holding special services, carol singing and prayer gatherings that reflect both faith and community spirit. In recent years, Christmas in Nepal has grown into a widely embraced cultural celebration, with decorations, lights and festive events becoming more visible in public spaces and local markets, especially in urban areas. Despite its minority status, the Christian community's traditions have found resonance with many Nepalese who appreciate the message of peace, love and togetherness that defines this season. As families come together this Christmas Eve, the streets of Nepal echo with songs and laughter, capturing the universal joy of the holiday. For more on the celebrations here at home, we're now joined live by our reporter Diksha from Thamel, Kathmandu, one of the main hubs of Christmas Eve festivities in the capital. Thamel is bustling with lights, music and people celebrating the occasion in high spirits. Diksha, has the Eve celebration already started there or just warming up?
Yes, you can see behind me the celebration has already started and we can see the Thamel, bustling with lights and youngsters enjoying the live music behind me. Tamil is full of lights and celebrations. We can see Christmas Eve being celebrated with full of excitement since Tamil is one of the favorite songs for tourists as well as the Nepali people as well. And it is a hub for midnight night lifestyle as well. And you can see the performers behind me performing live, and it's amazing here. Christmas Eve is so amazing here. Everyone is enjoying live music, and I think you can see from here as well. We're having fun.
Please tell us, what are you seeing on the ground in terms of footfall and activity compared to a typical Christmas season here?
Yeah, I think this year Christmas is more special than the previous years as well. Economically, Nepal is in a critical state, but on the occasion of Christmas, we could see people buying, different gifts for their friends and families while they're celebrating and, having fun. And they're actually enjoying the Christmas sale and different offers during this festivities as well. And you can see people waving their hands with joy and festivities. So the security is also well managed and reassured so that people can celebrate with full assurance and safety. So I think everyone is here enjoying, and the crowd is really well in the Christmas time.
Thank you, Diksha, for the live updates from Tamil. Thank you for joining us. That was our colleague Diksha giving us live updates of the celebration, Christmas Eve celebration in Tamil. We now move on to remaining updates. A severe cold wave has swept across Nepal's lowland Tarai Madhesh region, affecting daily life in at least 20 districts. Western districts such as Kailali and Baki, along with several in Madhesh province, including Saptari, Siraha, Dhanusha, Sarlahi, Mahottari, Rohtahat, Bara and Parsa, have been hardest hit. The extreme cold, coupled with dense fog and frost, has forced school closures in some districts and disrupted air travel. Temperatures have fallen as low as 9 degrees Celsius in recent days, making conditions particularly harsh for vulnerable communities. Authorities have activated Nepal's Cold Wave Preparedness and Response Plan 2082, urging local administrations to provide emergency shelters in public buildings and temples. Relief efforts are underway to protect residents from the freezing temperatures and minimize disruption. Gold and silver prices in Nepal have surged to record levels over the past several days, driven in part by movements in the international market. According to the Federation of Nepal Gold and Silver Dealers Association, hallmark gold is now priced at 268,100 per 11.66 grams in Nepali rupees, while silver stands at 4,420 rupees per 11.66 grams, the highest levels recorded to date. Prices have steadily climbed from 258,300 rupees for gold and 4,105 rupees for silver on Sunday, rising each day to reach the current highs. Analysts attribute the upward trend to a stronger US dollar, with international gold trading at $4,525 per ounce and $73 per ounce in silver. The continued global demand and currency fluctuations are expected to keep precious metal prices elevated in Nepal. Nepal has registered around 58% of its estimated 4.1 million farmers under the Farmer Registration Program as of mid-November, according to officials from the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development. More than 2.3 million farmers are now enrolled in the initiative. The program aims to connect farmers to an electronic information system, making it easier to provide access to services such as chemical fertilizers, seeds, grants, and agricultural support. Farmers are classified into 4 categories based on income levels: livelihood, small-scale, medium-scale, and large-scale farmers. Registered farmers will receive identity cards, which will serve as a gateway to grants and services. The system also collects integrated statistics, including crop details, cultivated land area and other relevant data, while offering training and capacity building support to farmers, agricultural entrepreneurs and technicians. The Department of Passport in Nepal has announced that it will now issue passports within 2 working days following the arrival of 396,000 new passport booklets to meet urgent demand. The department confirmed that it is now operating at full capacity, personalizing and distributing passports to applicants from districts, area administration offices and Nepali missions abroad. Applicants who submitted their request by December 1 can expect to receive their new passports by December 30, while subsequent applications will be processed and issued gradually. Authorities emphasize that passport distribution will now proceed smoothly thanks to the timely availability of new booklets. Earlier, the government had approved the procurement of 700,000 passport booklets to cover the interim period. This move is expected to significantly reduce delays for Nepalese both at home and abroad, ensuring faster access to international travel documents. International news coming up next. For now, a short break. The Indian Space Research Organization ISRO has successfully launched the Bluebird Block 2 communication satellite aboard its heavy-lift LVM-3M6 rocket from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh. The launch, conducted under a commercial agreement between ISRO's commercial arm New Space India Limited and US-based AST Space Mobile, will deploy a next-generation satellite designed to deliver high-speed cellular broadband directly to smartphones worldwide. The LVM-3 is a 3-stage launch vehicle featuring 2 solid strap-on boosters, a liquid core stage and a cryogenic upper stage. With a liftoff mass of 640 tons and standing 43.5 meters tall, it can carry payloads up to 4,200 kg to geosynchronous transfer orbit. In this mission, the LVM-3M6 placed the Bluebird Block 2 satellite into low Earth orbit, marking it as the largest commercial communications satellite ever deployed in LEO from India and the heaviest payload launched by LVM-3. ISRO's LVM-3 rocket has a proven record, having previously launched Chandrayaan-2, Chandrayaan-3 and 2 OneWeb missions carrying a total of 72 satellites. The most recent prior mission was LVM-3M5 CMS-03, successfully completed on November 2025. Libya's Army Chief of Staff General Mohammed Ali Ahmed al-Haddad was killed along with 7 others when a Falcon 50 business jet crashed near Ankara on Tuesday evening. The aircraft was bound for Tripoli, Libya, when it lost contact about 42 minutes after takeoff from Ankara's Esenboga airport, Turkish authorities said. The crash claimed the lives of 4 senior Libyan military officials and 3 crew members. Wreckage was later found southwest of Ankara, and investigators recovered the black box and voice recorder. Libyan Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Deiba described the incident as a tragic loss for the nation. The delegation had been in Turkey for high-level defense discussions. Initial Turkish reports suggest a possible technical or electrical malfunction, though the cause of the crash remains under investigation. Libya has declared 3 days of national mourning. Ukraine has secured concessions in a US-led 20-point draft plan to end the Russian invasion, President Volodymyr Zelensky said, though major territorial questions remain. The plan removes the major demands for Ukraine to withdraw from Donetsk or recognize Russian-controlled land and allows for partial troop pullbacks with demilitarized zones. It also drops requirements to renounce NATO membership. Zelensky acknowledged some points are unfavorable but called the proposal a potential framework for reducing hostilities, while Moscow's acceptance remains uncertain. It also got rid of demands that Kiev must legally renounce its bid for NATO membership. Zelensky presented the plan during a 2-hour briefing with journalists, reading from a highlighted and annotated version. Military officials from Thailand and Cambodia began talks on Wednesday, December 24, aimed at resuming a ceasefire following 16 days of fierce border clashes that have killed at least 86 people. The discussions taking place at a border checkpoint near the southern end of the 817 kilometers frontier come shortly after a special ASEAN meeting in Kuala Lumpur convened by Malaysia and attended by Southeast Asian foreign ministers to salvage a truce originally brokered after earlier clashes in July. Thai Defence Ministry spokesman Rear Admiral Surasant Kongsiri said the three-day meeting of the General Border Committee could pave the way for a lasting agreement and reduce tensions along the disputed frontier. More international news and sports update up next after this break. Venezuela's parliament has approved a law that imposes lengthy prison sentences on nationals who support United States oil tanker blockades, which Caracas has described as acts of piracy. The legislation, titled the Law to Guarantee Freedom of Navigation and Trade in the Face of Piracy, Blockades and Other International Illicit Acts, was introduced following the seizure of a second tanker carrying Venezuelan crude by U.S. forces. The legislative push follows a series of operations by U.S. forces in the Caribbean, including the seizure of at least two tankers transporting Venezuelan crude oil, actions that Caracas has vehemently condemned as international piracy. Venezuelan officials have publicly accused the United States of attempting to undermine their economy and government through maritime pressure and sanctions enforcement. The law aims to criminalize assistance to foreign actions that Caracas considers a threat to its maritime trade and sovereignty. The 17th round of ocean discharge of nuclear-contaminated wastewater from Japan's crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant was completed on Monday, Tokyo Electric Power Company, or TEPCO, confirmed. Since Japan unilaterally began discharging the wastewater into the ocean in August 2023, a cumulative total of approximately 133,000 tons scheduled to be held in Japan in 2026. The board also approved the construction of the Genset Memorial Park in Sadabato to honor youth contributions. And before we wrap up, let's take a look into the headlines once again. Christmas Eve being observed across Nepal and around the globe with prayers, lights and festive gatherings marking the birth of Jesus Christ. Nepal prepares for National Assembly elections with provincial officers appointed. Cold wave sweeps across Nepal's lowland Tarai Madhesh region, affecting daily life in at least 20 districts. ISRO successfully launches LV-M3-M6, placing India's heaviest commercial payload into orbit. Libya's army chief killed in Falcon 50 jet crash near Ankara. And Nepal prepares for 10th National Games, first Para-National Games and 2026 Asian Games participation. And that's all for NTV World Primetime News for now. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Smita Gising Thamang. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries, where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
The gorgeous temple of Changu Narayan holds greater significance among the 4 Narayan temples located in different cardinal points of Kathmandu Valley. It is situated on a magnificent hilltop about 16 kilometers northeast of Kathmandu in the Bhaktapur district. Changu Narayan is known for its majestic temple complex, full of magnificent artworks in stone, metal and wood. As an important heritage site of archaeological and cultural importance with a history of nearly 1700 years, Changu Narayan was designated as UNESCO World Heritage Site in October 1979. By then, it also received the attention of international observers abroad. One of the first substantial evidences of Nepalese history was found in the temple premises consecrated by Lichavi King Mandev, dating back to 464 AD. It shows that Changu Narayan was already developed as an important sacred place long before his time. There are various myths and legends regarding the origin of Changu Narayan. As detailed in the Vansavalis, Changu had already been established as a sacred site around 3rd century AD. The Ichangu inscription of Vijaya Kamdev, dated 1199 AD, informs that the temple was built by the king Haridatta Varma, happened to be 9th generations before Mandev. The time of Haridatta Varma is estimated as early as 325 AD.
यो काठमाडौँ उपत्यका विश्व सम्पदा स्थल चाहिँ 1979 मा नेपालको तर्फबाट विश्व सम्पदाको रूपमा चाहिँ सूचीकृत भएको थियो र त्यसमा चाहिँ अपरेसनल गाइडलाइन अब भनौँ न नेपालले 1972 को चाहिँ वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज कन्भेन्सन भन्ने जुन कन्भेन्सन थियो त्यो कन्भेन्सनमा चाहिँ साइन गरिसकेपछि 78 मा साइन गर्यो र 76 मा साइन गरेर 78 मा चाहिँ नेपालले पठाएको थियो र त्यतिखेर पठाउँदाखेरि नेपालले यो सांस्कृतिक सम्पदाको तर्फबाट काठमाडौँ उपत्यका विश्व सम्पदा स्थल र प्राकृतिकको तर्फबाट चाहिँ सगरमाथा राष्ट्रिय निकुञ्जलाई चाहिँ यो सूचीमा सूचीकरण गर्नको लागि पठाएको थियो। त्यो मध्ये चाहिँ अपरेसनल गाइडलाइनको अनुसार क्राइटेरिया 3, 4 र 6 जुन चाहिँ एकदमै असाध्यै विश्वव्यापी महत्त्व भएको भनेर जुन आउटस्ट्यान्डिङ युनिभर्सल भ्याल्यू भनेर भन्छौँ हामीले यो 3वटा क्राइटेरियाको आधारमा नेपाल सरकारले तत्कालीन अवस्थामा चाङ्गु नारायण सहित बाँकी 6वटा सम्मिलित भएको समावेश भएको चाहिँ काठमाडौँ उपत्यका विश्व सम्पदा स्थल भनेर चाहिँ सूचीकरण को लागि प्रस्ताव गरेको थियो 78 मा र 79 को सेसनले चाहिँ वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज कमिटीको सेसन भनेको बैठक ले चाहिँ यसलाई सूचीकृत गर्ने चाहिँ निर्णय गरेको थियो। त्यसैले यो एज ए होल 7वटा 7 in 1 वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज प्रपर्टी भनेर भन्छौँ हामी। यो काठमाडौँ उपत्यका विश्व सम्पदा स्थल चाहिँ त्यसरी चाहिँ विश्व सम्पदा सूचीमा चाहिँ सूचीकरण भएको थियो।
चाङ्गु भनेको चाहिँ एउटा हामीसँग एकदम पुरानो प्राचीन स्थल पनि हो त्यहाँ हैन। त्यहाँ चाहिँ धेरैवटा अभिलेखहरू छ, जम्मी त्यहाँको अभिलेखहरू सम्पूर्ण चाङ्गुसँग सम्बन्धित अभिलेखहरू, चाङ्गुमा भएका अभिलेखहरू, भण्डारभित्र भएका सबै अभिलेख हेर्ने हो भने करिब करिब हामीसँग 360वटा अभिलेखहरू छ चाङ्गु एरियामा मात्रै, त्योसँग रिलेटेड अभिलेखहरू हैन। र त्यसमध्ये अहिलेसम्म प्राप्त सबभन्दा पुरानो अभिलेख भनेको मानदेवको 386 को अभिलेख हो हैन। त्यो भनेको राजा मानदेवले आफ्नो विजयपछि जब सामन्तहरू सबैलाई कब्जा गरिसकेपछि राखेको अभिलेख हो। यो अभिलेख चाहिँ एउटा स्तम्भमा छ त्यहाँ र त्यो अभिलेखमा चाहिँ लिच्छवी लिपिमा लेखिएको छ र संस्कृत भाषामा लेखिएको छ, एकदम प्रौढ संस्कृत भाषामा लेखिएको छ, राम्रो एकदम शुद्ध भाषामा लेखिएको छ। र त्यसमा चाहिँ उसले राजा मानदेवले जब पूर्व र पश्चिमको सामन्तहरूलाई दबाइसकेपछि उसले विजय स्तम्भको रूपमा त्यसलाई स्थापना गरेको हो। र यो अभिलेखलाई चाहिँ अहिलेसम्म हामीसँग धेरै विवरण, हामीसँग हुन त लिच्छवी कालका त्योभन्दा पुराना अभिलेखहरू पनि छन् हैन। र जस्तै दोस्रो शताब्दीको जय वर्माको सम्मत 160 को अभिलेख छ हामीसँग, अनि त्यसपछि 381 को अभिलेखहरू पनि छन्, तर त्यसमा चाहिँ विवरण एकदम छोटो छोटोमा छ। तर यो अभिलेख भनेको सम्पूर्ण विवरण लिच्छवी वंशको, जस्तै मानदेवले आफ्नो वंश समेत 3 पुस्ता समेत उल्लेख गरेर लेखेको र आफ्नो आमाको समेत नाम उल्लेख गरेर राखेको अभिलेख भएकोले त्यो बेलाको सिनारीहरू, त्यो बेलाको इतिहास, धर्म, संस्कृतिहरू धेरै भएको अभिलेखमा भएको हुनाले यो अभिलेख चाहिँ विशेष महत्त्वपूर्ण छ। नेपालकै सन्दर्भमा पनि यो अभिलेख चाहिँ विशेष महत्त्वपूर्ण छ।
चाङ्गु नारायण क्षेत्रमा भएका मन्दिर या मन्दिर वरिपरिका अन्य स्मारक र पुरातात्विक वस्तुहरूको हामीले संरक्षण सम्वर्धनलाई हाई प्रायोरिटी दिएर चाहिँ काम अगाडि बढाएका छौँ। हाम्रो भक्तपुरमा स्मारक संरक्षण तथा दरबार हेरचाह कार्यालय अफिस छ, युनिट अफिस छ। त्यो युनिट अफिसको कामै के हो भने भक्तपुर वा विश्व सम्पदा स्थल चाङ्गु नारायण समेतको हाम्रो जुन कार्यक्षेत्र छ, हाम्रो मापदण्ड छ, त्यो मापदण्ड कार्यक्षेत्र अनुसार सञ्चालन, व्यवस्थापन, संरक्षण गर्नु नै यसको मुख्य कार्य हो। र त्यो अफिस, युनिट अफिसबाट ती कार्यहरू त्यहाँ भइरहेको छ। त्यही कारणले नै हामीलाई युनेस्कोले भूकम्प पछिको पुनर्निर्माण या भूकम्प पछिको स्ट्याटस क्लियर गर्ने सन्दर्भमा त्यो अफिस र स्वयं पुरातत्व विभागले त्यसको संरक्षण कार्य अगाडि बढाएको अवस्था छ।
मानदेवले राखेको गरुड स्तम्भ पछि गएर कालान्तरमा विभिन्न कारणले त्यो भाँच्यो। भाँच्एपछि त्यो स्तम्भमाथि रहेको गरुड चाहिँ नि भुइँमा झर्यो। जुन तपाईँले गरुड देख्नुहुन्छ चाँगु नारायणको ठ्याक्कै मन्दिर अगाडि हात जोडेर बसेको मानव आकार छ अनि पछाडि प्वाख बनाइएको छ हैन। त्यसले पखेटाहरूले त्यो गरुड चाहिँ नि सम्भवतया मानदेवले नै चढाएको भन्ने मानिन्छ। त्यो कलामा डेफिनेटली हामीले के मथुरा शैलीको देख्छौँ। त्यो गरुडको जुङ्गा पनि बनाएको देख्नुहुन्छ, माथि एउटा सानो डोरीले बाँधेर क्लिपहरू लगाएको एउटा मुकुटको जस्तै किसिमका त्यो देखिन्छ। सम्भवतया त्यो मानदेवकै प्रतिमूर्तिको रूपमा त्यही उसको पर्सनालिटी अनुसार उसको जीव डाल अनुसार गरुड बनाइएको हो भन्ने एक थरीको भनाइ छ।
रौरोगन त बासी योजना होइन, यो 61 वर्ष पछि भएको यो भगवान नारायणले नै पुजारी नियुक्ति गरेको हुनाले त्यो वंश परम्परागत अहिले हामी चाहिँ यहाँ पुजारी बनिएका छौँ र त्यही वंशज मात्रै पूजा गर्नुपर्ने भएको हुनाले यहाँका पुजारीले आफ्नो बुवा आमा बित्नु भए पनि जुठो बार्न पाइन्न। यहाँ अविच्छिन्न रूपमा चाहिँ पूजा चलाउनुपर्छ। त्यो चलन अहिलेसम्म चलिआएको छ। मन्दिर 4:30-5 बजे खोलिसकेका हुन्छ। भडेलहरूले नित्य पूजाको लागि यहाँ छुट्टै नारायणजी भन्छौँ हामी, त्यहाँबाट चकपानी ल्याएर त्यो चकपानी ल्याएर पनि कठिन छ। चकपानी ल्याएर कोही बिसाएर फाप्न नहुने होइन, अनि कसैले छुनु नहुने, नाङ्गो खुट्टा यहाँसम्म हिँडेर आउनुपर्ने। अनि यहाँ ल्याएर मन्दिर खोलिसकेपछि अनि चकपानी भित्र त्यहाँ पूजा सामान तयार भइसकेपछि करिब 8-9 बजेतिर प्रायः भगवान्को पूजा हुन्छ। पूजा षोडशोपचारले हुन्छ। अनि त्यो पूजा पश्चात चाहिँ हामीले खिर नैवेद्य पनि चलाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ। पहिला मन्दिर बन्द हुन्थ्यो, अब त बन्द हुन छोड्यो। अहिले त प्रायः दिनभरि नै खोल्छ र साँझ चाहिँ नित्य आरती पनि हुन्छ र यो पूजा आरती गर्दा यो बाजा बजाउने चलन पनि छ।
लिच्छवीकालीन मूर्तिकलाको विशेषता चाहिँ नि के छ भने मास कलरको हुन्छ, मास रङको ब्ल्याक बेसल्ट भन्छ। त्यो ढुङ्गाको क्वालिटी सारो ढुङ्गाबाट बनाएको हुन्छ र त्यसमा मास रङको चाहिँ नि लेपन गरेको देखिन्छ। त्यसपछि मूर्ति बनाइन्थ्यो किनभने मूर्तिको त्यो खुट्टाको हातको कापाभित्र पनि त्यो पलिसिङ गरेको देखिन्छ। त्यो सम्भवतः पहिला ढुङ्गामा नगरिकन त्यसरी त भित्रभित्र गर्न त गाह्रो हुन्छ पलिसिङ गर्न। त्यसकारण उनीहरूले घोटेर ढुङ्गालाई चाहिँ नि पहिला बनाएपछि अनि त्यसपछि त्यो ढुङ्गालाई घोटेर तयार पारेपछि अनि उनीहरूले मूर्ति कुद्या हुनुपर्छ। स्ट्रङ्गेस्ट टेक्नोलोजी उनीहरूले युज गरेको देखिन्छ।
अंशु वर्माको अभिलेख छ, जुन चाहिँ गरुड अहिलेको तपाईँले त्यहाँ चाङ्गुमा जानुभयो भने ठ्याक्क त्यसको गरुडको पछाडि एउटा अंशु वर्मा र शिवदेवको अभिलेख पनि छ। त्यो अभिलेख पनि लिच्छवीकालको सामाजिक व्यवस्था अर्थव्यवस्थाहरू बुझ्नको लागि चाहिँ महत्त्वपूर्ण अभिलेख हो। र अर्को महत्त्वपूर्ण अभिलेख भनेको गरुडको पाटपीठमा जुन हाम्रो लिच्छवीकालको चाङ्गु नारायणको पाटपीठमा रहेको जुन अभिलेख छ नि त्यसमा चाहिँ त्यो चाङ्गु नारायणको जुन मूर्ति स्थापना गरेको त्यसको जीर्णोद्धार गरेको सम्बन्धी चाहिँ त्यो अभिलेखमा चाहिँ उल्लेख छ। अभिलेखहरू अध्ययन गर्ने, तिनीहरूको विश्लेषण गर्ने, तिनीहरूको लिप्यान्तर गर्ने, प्रतिलिपि उतार गर्ने, तिनीहरूको सङ्कलन गर्ने कामहरू अभिलेखालयले गर्छ र जस अनुसार हामीले त्यहाँको अभिलेखहरू लिप्यान्तर गरेर अथवा उतार गरेर ल्याएर तिनीहरूको प्रतिलिपि चाहिँ यहाँ सुरक्षित गरिसकेको छ। पुरै लिप्यान्तर गरेर भाषान्तर गरेर पब्लिस पनि भइसकेको छ त्यो जुन चाङ्गुको अभिलेख छ।
रामको वर्ण हैन, अनि यो जस्तै अब नारायणको वर्ण के हो, यहाँ बाजेहरू हुनुहुन्छ उहाँहरूसँग बसेर सल्लाह गरेर अनि वर्ण अनुसारको हामीले चाहिँ यो कलर गर्ने हो। अब जस्तै कि यो चाहिँ श्रीराम, यो श्रीराम उहाँको चाहिँ यो अलि निलो आकाशी वर्णको हुन्छ। अब माथि भयो नरसिंह सेतो वर्णको, यतापट्टि चाहिँ वामन वर्ण भयो, वामन चाहिँ हाम्रो स्किन कलर अरेन्ज कलरको, यो सबै त्यहाँ चाहिँ वर्णहरू हुन्छ अनि त्यही अनुसारले हामीले गर्ने हो। कुन्नाको चाहिँ हरियो कलरको कोरा। अब कोराको सिम किन राखेको भन्दा कोरा चाहिँ यो उड्ने कोरा, नेवार भाषाबाट बोसल भन्छ, बलियो पनि। उसले यो मन्दिरको पुरा यो छत हुन्छ नि उसको भारै उसले बोकेको छ कुन्ना कुमार 4 कुन्नाले। त्यही भएर उसको त्यो अनुहारको आकृति पनि अलि रिसाएको जस्तो, अलि उसलाई गाह्रो भएको जस्तो फिल गरेर नै बनाएको छ, राम्रो नै बनाएको छ। सबभन्दा पहिला चाङ्गु नारायण पछि शेष नारायण पछि विसुङ्गु नारायण पछि तपाईँको इचुङ्गु नारायण राखेको छ लाइनै। बिचमा चाहिँ तपाईँको यमराजको चाहिँ तुराल राखिएको छ यहाँ ठ्याक्कै दक्षिणतिर फर्काएर। यो यमराजको चाहिँ हटबाट अरू मन्दिरमा चाहिँ पाइँदैन, यहाँ चाहिँ राखिएको छ। अनि पछि पश्चिममा चाहिँ तपाईँको वरुणको राखेको छ। वरुण भनेपछि नागको राजा। मत्स्य नारायण, वराह, नरसिंह लाइनै मिलाएर राखिएको छ। अनि तपाईँ फेरि दक्षिणबाट अब तपाईँ उत्तर दिशा जानुभयो भने वामनको तपाईँले तुनार हेर्नुहोस् है, 3वटा खुट्टा हालेको छ। जुन चित्र छ यो कलाकारले बनाएको काठको त्यो कहीँ पनि पाउँदैन, यही चाङ्गु नारायणमा पाउँछ। कृष्णको छ, रामको, परशुरामको लाइनै मूर्तिहरू राखेको छ। पूर्व दिशामा जानुभयो भने भगवान बुद्धको मूर्ति त्यो स्वरूपमा त्यो चित्रमा जुन राखेको छ ठ्याक्कै अनुहार चाहिँ नारायण विष्णुकै राखेको छ। स्तुपा समातिरहेको छ, तपाईँले त्यहाँ हेर्नुहुन्छ। त्यो चाहिँ हाम्रो के भन्छ नारायणजी चाहिँ हाम्रो यो बुद्ध भगवानको स्वरूपमा राखेको छ।
हाम्रो चाङ्गु नारायण भने विष्णु धर्म अथवा वैष्णव धर्मको मुख्य थलो हो भनेपछि त्यसलाई चाहिँ फेरि बुद्धिस्टहरूले चाहिँ तपाईँको भने लोकेश्वरको रूपमा पूजा गर्छन् त्यहाँ हैन। भनेपछि बुद्धिस्ट र हिन्दूको एउटा चाहिँ संयोजन, धार्मिक संयोजनको साथसाथै त्यहाँबाट आउने त्यो कलशलाई वा चाहिँ नारायणको प्रतीकात्मक स्वरूपलाई हनुमान ढोका ल्याउने र चाहिँ कुमारीले समेत दर्शन गर्ने र कुमारीको दर्शन जो त्यहाँ आफ्नै किसिमको विधि परम्परा छ र त्यो कलशको दर्शन गर्नलाई त्यहाँका अरू अब के अरे धर्मावलम्बीहरू जो चाहिँ त्यो धर्ममा आस्था राख्नुहुन्छ उहाँहरू आएर चाहिँ त्यो धर्म दर्शनका कुराहरू अथवा त्यो कलशको दर्शन गर्ने परम्परा अहिले पनि छ। यसले चाहिँ एकातिर भक्तपुर र कान्तिपुरको एउटा राम्रो सम्बन्धको स्थापना गर्छ भनेपछि पछि तपाईँको पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले काठमाडौँ अट्याक गरेर नयाँ राज्य अथवा नेपाल राज्य स्थापना गर्ने सन्दर्भमा पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले यहाँ आएका चलन मैले अघि भनेको थिएँ प्रथा धर्मलाई कुनै पनि उनले चाहिँ हस्तक्षेप गरेनन्, सबैलाई स्वीकारे र एज ए स्टेट हेड रूपमा उनको वासस्थान त्यहाँ भएको नाताले चाहे मल्ल राजाहरूले पनि त्यहीँबाट सुरु गरे, त्यसपछि पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले पनि त्यो कामलाई कन्टिन्यू दिएको अवस्था पाइन्छ।
यहाँको मुख्य यात्रा भनेको वैशाखमा हुन्छ र जो यात्रा यहाँको लागि होइन कि यो चाहिँ पारी काठमाडौँ जिल्लाका दाँची ब्रह्मखेल थली इन्द्रायणी भद्रवास आदि ठाउँ पनि यो यात्रा चल्छ। हामी यहाँबाट कलश बोकेर खाली पेट हिँडेर हामी जमल पुग्छौँ, काठमाडौँ जमल पुग्छौँ। अनि जमलसम्म चाहिँ यहाँको बाजा जान्छन्। अनि जमल पुगेपछि यहाँको बाजा फर्किन्छ। त्यहाँ गुरुजीको पल्टनले हामीलाई स्वागत गर्छ। त्यहाँबाट पूजा सामान्य पूजा भएपछि हामी चाहिँ गुरुजीको पल्टन सँगसँगै हामी चाहिँ हनुमानढोका पुग्छौँ। अनि त्यहाँ जीवित देवी कुमारीको आगमन हुन्छ। अनि उहाँको उपस्थितिमा हामीले लसकुश स्वागत गरेर दरबारभित्र भित्राइन्छ र त्यहाँको पूजा पश्चात चाहिँ अनि राष्ट्र प्रमुखका हामी दर्शन गर्नु पहिला राजा कहाँ जान्थ्यो, अहिले राष्ट्रपति कहाँ जान्छौँ।
कला वस्तु प्रविधिसँग गाँसिएको हाम्रो इन्टेन्जिबल पाटो, अभौतिक पाटो, त्यसको पूजा व्यवस्था, धर्म, आस्था, जात्रा जो अविच्छिन्न रूपले चलिआएका छन्, त्यसको मूल्य मान्यता अहिले पनि त्यहाँका जनता या समग्र ती धर्मावलम्बीहरूसित अविच्छिन्नता रूपले चलिआएको छ। र त्यो इन्टिग्रिटी, त्यो अथेन्टिसिटी, त्यो चाहिँ त्यसको समग्रमा त्यसको आउटस्ट्यान्डिङ युनिभर्सल भ्यालीलाई हामीले कायम गर्न सक्या हुनाले युनेस्कोले त्यसलाई विश्व सम्पदा सूचीमा राखेको। विश्व सम्पदा सूचीमा राख्नुको तात्पर्य पनि त्यो हो कि ती विषय वस्तु चाहिँ राष्ट्रिय मात्र नभएर अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय महत्त्वका विषयवस्तु बनुन्।
चाङ्गो नारायणमा एउटा विष्णु विश्वरूपको मूर्ति छ। त्यो मूर्तिको तल पाताल लोक देखाइएको छ, नागकन्याहरू छन्। त्यसपछि पृथ्वीले दुईटा काँधमा स्त्री रूपमा पृथ्वीलाई प्रतिनिधित्व गरेका छ। काँधमा दुईटा पाइताला राखेर भगवान् विष्णु उभ्या छन्। त्योभन्दा माथि विभिन्न दिक्पालहरू, अन्य सूर्य चन्द्र, अझ माथि गएपछि आकाश, यिनीहरू सबैको प्रतिनिधित्व हुने गरी देवगणहरू, ऋषिगणहरू पनि देखिन्छ। र अर्जुनले चाहिँ हात जोडेर बसेको दृश्य पनि त्यसमा कुँदिएको छ। त्यो मूर्ति साउथ इस्ट एसियामै मलाई जहाँसम्म लाग्छ दुर्लभ मूर्ति हो। देब्रेतिरको चाहिँ नि केही पार्टहरू भाँचिएको छ, होइन भने मूर्ति धेरै नै राम्रो छ। त्यो पछि कसरी भाँच्यो भन्ने थाहा हुन सकेको छैन। मुखबाट त्यहाँ मूर्तिमा हेर्नुभयो भने एउटा मान्छे निस्किया देख्नुहुन्छ, त्यो द्याट इज कल्ड ब्राह्मण। अनि बाहुबाट पाखुराबाट चाहिँ नि क्षेत्रीय निस्केको देख्नुहुन्छ। तिघ्राबाट चाहिँ नि त्यसै गरी मान्छे सानो सानो मान्छेको मूर्ति बनाएको छ, त्यो निस्किया देख्नुहुन्छ, जो वैश्य हो। वैश्यपछि पाइतालामा चाहिँ नि खुट्टामा हेर्नुभयो भने त्यहाँ शूद्र निस्केको भनिन्छ। त्यसरी एउटा समाजको स्वरूपलाई पनि उसले चित्रण गरेका छ। उनी सुतेका छन्। विश्वरूपको त्यो मूर्ति निकै नै उत्कृष्ट मानिन्छ। र अब त्यसलाई कसैले 7औं शताब्दी भनिन्छन्, कसैले 8औं, मूर्तिमा लेखिया छैन। तर 8औं शताब्दीतिरको हुनसक्छ भन्ने अनुमान चाहिँ नै हामीले गरेका छौँ। विश्वरूपकै अगाडिपट्टि त्रिविक्रम वामनको मूर्ति पाउनुहुन्छ। त्यो त्रिविक्रम वामन भनेको खुट्टा उचालेर एउटा आकाशतिर फर्काएको, एउटा चाहिँ नि पातालतिर फर्काएको मूर्ति पाउनुहुन्छ, जसमा हामीले अनुमान गर्दाखेरि लगभग हाराहारी 7औं 8औं शताब्दीकै 8औं शताब्दीतिरकै हुनुपर्छ भन्ने एउटा अनुमान चाहिँ गर्छौँ। 8औं शताब्दीतिरकै नरसिंहको मूर्ति पनि त्यहाँ राखेको छ। त्यो पनि सेम ब्ल्याक बासल्टको हो, तर त्यहाँ चाहिँ नि पलिसिङ पनि तपाईँको मास कलरको पलिस गरेर देख्नुहुन्छ। त्यहाँ यो तीनवटा मूर्ति विशेष उल्लेखनीय छन् भने चौथो अर्को मूर्ति पनि त्यहाँ उल्लेखनीय छ, जसलाई गरुड नारायण भनिन्छ। अब भनाइ के छ भने अब भित्र मूर्ति त हेर्न दिन्नन् हैन, तर त्यहाँभित्र पनि गरुडमा चढेको नारायणकै मूर्ति हो, गरुड नारायण नै हो। त्यस्तै किसिमको गरुडमा विष्णु चढेको एउटा मूर्ति छ, जो हाम्रो 10 रुपियाँको नोटमा पनि तपाईँले छापेको देख्नुहुन्छ। त्यसमा के देखाइएको छ भने विष्णुले अनि वाहनमा चढेर उडिरहेको अवस्थामा देखाउने यो प्रचलन धेरै पहिलादेखि नै छ। र यिनीहरू यो मूर्ति पनि त्यही पलिसिङको छ। अनि शास्त्रमा जस्तो शरीर बयान गरेको छ त्यस्तै, अनि हात खुट्टाहरू जस्तै अङ्ग मिलेको भन्छौँ क्या हामी। त्यो जति लामो हात हुनुपर्ने हो त्यति लामो हात छ, जति लामो खुट्टा हुनुपर्ने त्यस्तो मान्छेको खुट्टा कत्रो हुन्छ। उसले त नाइटोदेखि नै नापेर मूर्तिहरू बनाउने, माथिल्लो भाग तल्लो भाग कति छ त्यो अनुसारको समायोजन गरेका छ। त्यसैले लिच्छवीकालीन मूर्तिहरूमा यो विशेषता चाहिँ नि उत्कृष्ट किसिमको छ।
ट्रेडिसनल जुन हामी परम्परागत रूपमा चाहिँ असाध्यै धनी भनेर जुन भन्छौँ अमूर्त सम्पदा, अभौतिक सम्पदा, त्यो भौतिक र अभौतिक सम्पदा बिचको चाहिँ जुन एउटा लिभिङ नेचर छ, लिभिङनेस भनेर जुन हामी चाहिँ यो जीवन्त सम्पदा भन्छौँ, त्यो जीवन्त सम्पदा मध्यकालदेखि अहिलेसम्म चाहिँ कन्टिन्यू छ भनेर चाहिँ र त्यो भएकोले गर्दाखेरि संसारमा यस्तो चिज कहीँ पनि छैन, यहाँ मात्रै छ। त्यसैले यसलाई चाहिँ संसारभरिकै मान्छेको चाहिँ सम्पत्ति हो, सम्पदा हो भनेर हामीले चाहिँ दर्ता गऱ्यौँ। भनेपछि सूचीकरण गऱ्यौँ भनेपछि त्यही रूपमा चाहिँ हामीले बचाइराख्नु चाहिँ सबभन्दा ठुलो चाहिँ दायित्व हो।
चाङ्गु नारायणको मन्दिर चाहिँ मानदेवको पालामा त्यो अभिलेख एकदम स्थापना भइसकेको, योभन्दा धेरै अगाडि स्थापना भइसकेको र लोकप्रिय र अब विशेष महत्त्व भएको मन्दिर भनेर हामी बुझ्छौँ। किनभने राजा आफैले विजय स्तम्भ राख्ने विशेष महत्त्वको साथ चाहिँ राजा मानदेवले त्यो ठाउँमा अभिलेख राख्नु भनेको त्यो ठाउँमा पहिलेदेखि नै भव्य मन्दिर थियो, त्यहाँ मन्दिर थियो र यो विशेष राजकीय महत्त्वको स्थान थियो, त्यो मन्दिर थियो भनेर बुझिन्छ। त्यो हेर्दा पनि त्यो मन्दिर राजा मानदेवभन्दा धेरै अगाडि बनिसकेको भन्ने बुझिन्छ। वास्तवमा त्यो स्तम्भ अहिलेको ठाउँ चाहिँ ओरिजिनल होइन, यतापट्टि तपाईँले मन्दिरको अगाडि हेर्यो भने सानो खण्डित अभिलेख छ, त्यहाँ भएको हुनुपर्छ त्यो अभिलेख। तर विभिन्न अब चट्याङ अथवा विशेष कारणले त्यो ढल्यो र त्यो अभिलेख भाँच्यो। तर त्यति भाँचिसकेपछि पनि त्यो ढुङ्गाको अभिलेख त सुरक्षित भयो, धेरै पार्ट त सुरक्षित छ। अहिले त्यो सुरक्षित भएको कारणले त्यो अभिलेख इट्सेल्फ सुरक्षित अहिलेको अवस्थामा छ र मान्छेले अभिलेख त्यहाँको स्थानीय लोकलले पनि त्यो अभिलेखको महत्त्व बुझेकोले त्यसलाई चाहिँ क्षति हुने सम्भावना कम छ। त्यस्ता अभिलेखहरू चाहिँ हामीले यदि सुरक्षा गर्न सक्यौँ भने हाम्रो इतिहास चाहिँ कालान्तरसम्म जोग्न सक्छ। हामीले थाहा पायौँ, हाम्रा पछिका पुस्तालाई पनि त्यो हामी बचाइदिनुपर्छ।
चाङ्गु नारायण चाहिँ नि वान अफ द बेस्ट हाम्रो चाहिँ नेपालको चाहिँ नि आर्ट, आर्किटेक्चर, हिस्ट्री को लागि इम्पोर्टेन्ट साइट हो र कल्चरको लागि इम्पोर्टेन्ट साइट हो।
During Lichavi period, Changu Narayan was also known as Dola Shikhar, which refers to a mount or hill in the shape of Doli. Gopal Raj Vansavali and the Changu inscription also mention it as Changu, a Newari word that refers to swing like hill. But the evidences show that this particular place was popular as Changu Narayan from the earliest time, and the same name exists in the society till present. This two-storied temple is of basic Nepalese design with possible emphasis given to masterful ornamentation. The temple may have passed through series of restoration. The present structure was probably constructed in the 17th century. Changu Narayan is regarded as one of the masterpieces of Nepalese temple architecture. The older elements have been incorporated during the restorations.
Welcome to Declassified Beyond the Brief. I am Devendra Subedi. Well, in this episode, we try to discuss contemporary political state of the country following the Gen Z movement. We will try to discuss the party dynamics in the days to come, political fluidity in the country, and also the opportunities it brings and the future that lies ahead of the country. Let's welcome Vishnu Sapkota, an academician and political analyst. Welcome to the show, Dr. Sapkota.
Thank you.
It would be good to start with your, let's say, assessment of the recent political changes that the country, which I prefer to call it unprecedented. How do you see it?
Thank you for inviting me. So I agree with the word unprecedented because this has been unprecedented. Nepal has, of course, seen a lot of political movements, but not of the like that we saw in September, popularly known as Gen Z protest. As we know, there have been multiple narratives in terms of how to define the Gen Z protest, what is it? Exactly. And this is all political. So there are political forces who want to delegitimize it, who want to dismiss it as saying it was nothing, it was just like a fluke of 2 days. And there are many others, I think more sensible in my assessment, who are trying to understand the underlying meaning of what that is. So I think the Gen Z protest, to me, there were those who called for the protest, there were those who were martyrs, there were those who participated. So it's a variety of group, but I think on the whole, it was the Nepali society, largely, that was desperate for a change. So the message of the Gen Z protest, for me, or how it should be understood, is that whatever is going around has been done in the last 10 years or 20 years, it's not good. Things need to change. The political actors and the state of the state that has been there, it's not good. It needs to change. So it was just an explosion of that frustration that was brewing from many years. Normally when there is a protest or movement, there is an organized force and then, they have a political vision. But because Gen Z protest was spontaneous, and it was a spontaneous mix of people, mostly youth, of course they didn't think about, okay, they will topple the government, the Prime Minister will have to flee for his life, and then, the interim government and the dissolution of the parliament. They didn't envisage any of this. So that means they didn't have any political vision. So, and then everything that has happened was like what was possible to do, like the formation of the current government. I think it's now 100 days of the government out of the mandate of 180 days. And Sushila Karki was not prepared to be the Prime Minister, so it was thrust upon her. So in terms of how do we read the current political situation is what followed from the Gen Z protest, the political parties and forces, and within those parties, there are forces that think that election is the only way out, which I think is the most sensible way to go forward. And there are some who are hoping that elections will be postponed or derailed, and then, it's natural in any vibrant society, there are multiple forces. So it's a fluid. To summarize this, I think we're in a politically fluid and sensitive. If we don't get to the election, as per the mandate of this government, if there is something untoward that takes place, I think also we are in a very volatile situation.
Rather than calling it unstable, fluid, can we call it a time of recalibration?
I think this is also an opportunity. Opportunity in the sense that, we are yet to see the outcome of the Gen Z protest. The interim government and the elections are only means. They are instruments to get to that outcome, to the process of that outcome. So if we don't get to a better state, then it would be a complete, disrespect.
Waste of even human life.
Yeah, life and disrespect.
Sacrifice.
Disrespect to the
martyrs.
Exactly. Disrespect to the spirit of the Gen Z protest. So I think we're in that state where a lot can happen. There is a big potential for change. We cannot be assured about the change, but there is a good space to get into that phase where things really change.
Earlier in your assessment said this was a spontaneous protest. How sure, given the incidents that happened on the next day of the protest or the popular uprising, we can say that it was really spontaneous and then there was no organized sort of planned things on the second day of the protest?
Of course, the second day was the violence, the destruction had shocked the society. I was shocked myself. I was not in the country that time, but it was shocking to observe what was going on. Nepali society, I think, is still struggling to process, to understand. Again, there are different theories and conspiracy theories in terms of what happened. So nobody was happy about, of course, the violence. But what is important is, when we look at the Gen Z protest, what is important is first to understand the meaning, the message of the first day, but also to have a proper investigation of those who committed all those crimes, the violence, on the second day. I think as a protest, the second day was a reaction. How it started was as a reaction, but everything that happened was not reaction. And then Gen Z protest leaders, those known leaders, they have said they were not there. So that means there were definitely other elements. So I think what's important is to bring them to justice. I really hope that the commission that has been formed under Justice Karki will come up with the proper, credible investigation and recommendation, and that the government will take action. This government and the future government, so that the Nepali society, for future, that there will be no impunity
in the society.
I think that's equally important.
As you said, 100 days gone, 80 days left. The mandate, March 5 election, almost there. How realistic is it? It's an important question, and I'm taking a pause because I want to, of course, answer in an honest way. When it was announced, when the president gave this mandate of 6 months, I think that was the most sensible thing to do, 6 months. Because historically in Nepal, whenever when a parliament is dissolved or the government announces new election, the 6 months time has been the standard historically. So from that point of view, and also because the parliament was dissolved, I think also from the spirit of constitution also, within 6 months. So that makes perfect sense. But again, it was not a normal time when the elections were announced for 6 months. With the political chaos and the shock in the society and the uncertainty and just following that unprecedented scale of violence, there was a lot of skepticism about whether elections will take place in March, in the first month of the government formation. In the first few days, there was more skepticism, but then it's going down. So when I look at it, today, I see more political buy-in for the election. The good thing is about the big parties in the dissolved parliament. Nepali Congress has officially and with clarity said that election is the only political way forward, and they're fully committed. That's good. Even the UML, the second largest party in the last parliament, and the other political parties. So, which is good. But again, I think what we should take into account is the fact that there are political forces who are not prepared. The old big political parties fear that they will not do well in the election. Are they just buying time here under different pretexts, or they will try to do that?
They are trying to do that. So I would like to say two things. One is, realistically, if all major political forces come on board and think that, okay, instead of March 5th, okay, let's like postpone by a month, let's get to, a little warmer weather.
Will that be a disaster if that happens, or March 5 is something that we have to adhere to and have the election at any cost?
It won't be a disaster. But the government unilaterally, one is they don't have the mandate. It has to come through the president. But even the president and the government, they should not do it unilaterally. They should have the political parties on board, because in the political parties there are people who are pro-election. I mean, pro-election means for March. But if everybody comes on board and they think that it is more practical to postpone for a few weeks.
How hopeful are you, Dr. Sapura, about this?
I think they will get to that point, because
they will have to get.
They will have to get to that point. I think sense will prevail. What I'm not suggesting is that they have to postpone. My point is, if they have to postpone, if there are some logistic aspects for the election commission, the political parties, they think there are other reasons, and if all of them come on board together to request for that, I think it's not a disaster just to postpone by a month or 1.5 months. That's one. But the thing is, as the election comes close and the election campaigns start and they get vibrant, only thing I'm hoping is that there will be no violence, there will be no aggressive confrontations among the parties. So I think what's important, even among the Gen Z groups and those who are influential at Gen Z, I think it's important for them to realize that it is also their responsibility to create an environment for the election. Because doing election is in the interest of every citizen of the country. Their political parties, they have their own interest. I think that's always a reality in any country, and even in our case, there are political forces who think that if they can postpone election, they will benefit. Because right now there is still the heat of the Gen Z protest and the spirit is there, and then the old parties may be punished in the election. So it's natural for those interest groups in the parties to try to. That's why it's important for the Gen Z representatives also to contribute to creating an environment and avoid the extreme rhetorical language in the public.
Every 10 years or so, the country all of a sudden becomes bloodthirsty. The system somewhere goes wrong. And if we look at our recent history for the last 30, 40 years, major changes every 10, 12 years, they do not last longer than that. And the people have to again come to the streets, and we have seen a lot of sacrifices, including those of human life. Why? What is wrong in our system?
No, again, this is a serious question, and this is something I think a lot about. And there may not be one answer. There may be many, but just I would like to share one or two thoughts quickly that I think maybe one is in the last 20, 30 years. The whole world is connected, and it's a cliche to say it's like a global village, and with internet and everything, so Nepali society has seen everything that is going on in the world. And when they look back and think about their own situation, things should have been better. That's number one. Number two, politically, our political parties, they have been capable to do political campaigns to establish democracy or re-establish democracy when it's snatched. But in terms of governance, they have failed.
Failed to deliver, yeah.
And what is more important here is that because I've worked in Southeast Asia and traveled to other countries, and I compare Nepal with some other countries, not the
most developed, and
not the most developed, just with countries that are comparable, that were like Nepal just 20, 30 years ago. So when I look at their government, the members in the cabinet, the prime minister or the president and the ministers, they know their TOR. In case of Nepal, except for the political rhetorics and the ideologies and the big jargons from a long time ago, I do not see the ministers who know their job technically. So in terms of governance, I think Nepal, where we have really not done well is in terms of public service delivery. Nepal is really lagging behind, even compared to the countries which were like Nepal just 20, 30 years ago. So the frustration of Nepali public, especially the youth, for example, when we're having this chat, if you go to any government office where the public have to go, to pay tax, to get a driving license, for land registration, and to pay any kind of government offices. It's just the idea that you have to go frustrates people. And there has not been much improvement at all. And this has not been on the agenda also. So we've always been used to talking about these big political, ideological things and all that. Of course, it's important to have a political clarity and a vision, but in terms of governance, there are those basic things where our political class in the last 20, 30 years have completely failed. And if the old parties, old leadership, if they will come back again, the same thing will perpetuate. So I think in terms of your question, now to summarize, people's frustration is in terms of Nepal not having a sound economic policy and not being assured that we are on a good track, number one. Employment generation, number two. Public service delivery, number three. And the public accountability and the rampant corruption, which is actually related to this weak public
failure of all the things connected by. So there's not one particular factor that we can pinpoint at.
I think so.
But my question, if I can ask you again, is it the individuals that were wrong or the system that the Constitution has set, the form of governance, that has to be revised?
No, I think the form of government as a format is not a problem.
The federal setup, the number of parliaments, the federal parliaments, and then the proportional system of representation, because for the last, again, the same 30 years period, if we go back, hardly there has been one or two government that had the full majority from the people's mandate. So is it only the individuals who, let's say, bore the brunt of the latest movement as well, or the system that the Constitution has envisaged, it has to be revised?
And this is a political question. I'm of course happy to share my view because I've been sharing it in the past also public. That I think the federalism, we should not forget the context where Nepal had to go federal. It was again a result of a political movement. Of course, as a form of governance, whether federalism, the federal structure is good or not, we can debate. And if we look at these nearly 200 countries in the world, there have been all types of governance. That's not, I think, the main issue. What's happened in Nepal in case of federal restructuring is that the Nepali Congress and the UML had to accept the federal structure, but
they had to. Exactly.
They didn't have a political will to implement it. So
to accommodate the other force that was coming from a, let's say, warring background.
Exactly. So that is why the political parties and the Nepali civil service, the Kathmandu-based senior officials also were not happy to devolve power. So you have the major political parties who are running the government in Kathmandu from Singhadarbar, and then the senior bureaucrats who are not happy to devolve power. They tried everything not to devolve power in the last several years. So on the one hand, you don't give power, you don't make laws from the parliament to empower the provinces, and on the other, you criticize, the same people criticize that, look, it's been expensive, and no. I think it was a complete dishonesty, betrayal by the big political forces and the civil service, the senior bureaucrats. In terms of the format, of course, I'm not saying that federalism is the only best model. It's one of the models. Since we had to get into that, what the political parties should have done their best was to implement it honestly. They did not. So, if we look at how the provinces have been doing in the past few years, not very well. But it's because of the reason I just mentioned. So, I think in terms of delivering, but I think just one point quickly is that the local government bodies, because relatively they have better power, they are more empowered, they are doing well. Out of 753, like some are really doing well. There are good examples.
Thriving.
Yeah, thriving. Yeah.
Now, in this discourse, everything that you have been saying that connects to the political parties and the leaders who are the decision makers. Where are the people in this discourse? Were the people asked? Why were the people not, let's say, people's mandate taken when this system was set up? If I ask this question at this point of time, can we maybe discuss on this one, or this could be an opportunity to ask the people on this system?
No, this is a sad story. Your question itself has an answer in a way. So this is a sad story.
Probably somewhere my bias is coming out.
No,
here,
this is a sad story in terms of how the political parties have failed to represent, have not been able to represent the public.
They have failed to be the representative chosen by the people.
Exactly. So when you have elections and they're elected, yes, technically they represent people, but no, but it's the elections. You know how the political party base. Is the on the top you have a set of leaders who have captured the party's power, and then how they get elected is by re-electing the same people who are loyal to them at the local level. So and then for people to choose it's either this party or that, but basically there is no difference. I think one important point here, and which may be encouraging, is that in the last election we saw Rashtriya Swatantra Party.
Exactly. The alternative political forces.
It has had its own issue, but at least as a party, it came to challenge the old and the old parties. Oh, if we continue like this, maybe we'll be ousted soon. I think that message. And Balansa, although he was an independent person to win the mayor, but he defeated the powerful candidates of Nepali Congress and UML, which was a big message. Which was a message. It was not about one individual winning the mayor of Kathmandu. It was about how the old political parties have failed to deliver. So it was a message for all across the nation. And then in the now upcoming elections, and I hope they will take place in time or soon, that I am sure there will be some new political parties. Again, yes. New forces.
Since we are in the democracy, there must be a multi-party-based democracy.
So I think there is this challenge that the old parties, you guys are not doing well, and this cannot go on like this. So the message is there in the society, and the Gen Z protest was the most vocal, the most powerful message for the same. But the question is whether the new ones will be big enough to form a government or to lead the government or to make a real impact, or they will just be a fringe, like Rashtriya Swatantra Party. Okay, they participated in the government, but they kind of became part of the old system, gradually in those 3 years. So again, we'll have one or two other new parties with 20 seats, 30 seats or 40 seats. Again, they join the government in coalition with the same old parties, and they just become like the old, which will be tragic, which I hope won't be the case. So there is a challenge, but it's not enough.
We move on to the parties, political parties, as you said. Mr. Savkota, if I have to ask you, how do you see the political forces against whom the popular mandate was in the protest, correcting themselves, or as we have always been let's say our memory very short-lived, so are we going to forget all these things and again the country will take the same old course?
Again, this is a very important question. First, you have two sections in your question. Against whom? I think it was against all those that have been there for many years. But just it was in favor of hope, something new. So what is going around should change. So it was not in favor of anyone, it was against almost everyone. That's how I read. But in terms of your second part of the question, that whether there is something to hope, or again it will be lost, in transition, and then in another 5-10 years, another moment of protest. That's something I think one is something I think a lot about. But I think we have a really good space to hope at the moment. The old party, when I say old, especially the Nepali Congress and the UML and the Maoist, they have now merged and formed another party, Nepali Communist Party. Let's say those three. Even for Rasopa, the relatively new one, I think they're all second up. Look, we thought we were so important, but if you look at the message on the street and talk to the Gen Zs at home or relatives, then we're not respected by the society. We've lost faith. We do not represent them. We win elections, but we do not represent them. We win elections, but we are not legitimate in the eyes of the people. That message, I think it has shaken up, the party's base, internal base. So I see that, the desperateness that they're undergoing, which is very good. They deserve that, okay, that desperate feeling.
I immediately want to ask you this question again as you are saying this. The recent 11th Congress of CPNUML, did you see that, what you said? They were desperate, as you said. Yeah. Did you see that desperation in this UML to change itself or do the course correction?
Yeah, you caught me in the right spot. And I saw them desperate to defend that they were still right. And they were desperate not to acknowledge, not to recognize the Gen Z protest. So, but I think the message was still loud. If you look at their body language, they are desperate. But they are trying their best not to show that they are desperate, that we're still relevant. That's what they're trying to convey. But I think the message is written large. The
writing is on the wall now.
It's on the wall now. I think people are not just going to believe in what the rhetoric.
Same old rhetoric, same old promises, unfulfilled promises. Delivery always the same, and plight of human resource always carries on. Now, is the burden of expectation too heavy to the interim government led by Susila?
Yes, too heavy. So also unrealistic. Actually, politically, I'm a defender of this government. Nothing individual, nothing personal, but as a citizen, I have defended this government from day one.
But how long?
Yeah. No, okay. They have a finite mandate to conduct elections, and also to form the commission which they have formed, and the commission is working. They have an 1 month extension now. I think they're doing well in terms of their work. So, but for the public, there was such a massive Gen Z protest, and the deaths, and then the violence. And then when you have a new government and new election, is this all? Was the whole thing just for this? So there is this innocent expectation from the public, from youth and from everyone. So I respect that expectation, but that's not realistic. Because this government, one is they were not elected to come to this government with a political vision and all that. It was an accident of history, and in that heat of the moment, Susila Karki happened to be the Prime Minister. Not that she was prepared to be a Prime Minister. And the other cabinet members, they were just picked up, like people who had certain credibility in the society were picked up. So the cabinet members' mandate comes through the mandate of Susila Karki. Susila Karki's mandate comes through the whole situation, that evolved. Now, there is, to your question, there is a lot of burden to this government, but I think they should have a really fine balance in terms of doing something against corruption, empowering the institutions that are already there, the commissions that are there, and then, but at the same time, not lose focus on their core mandate of going for the election.
Mr. Savkota, this brings me to another question. On one side, we have the desperate, let's say, youths who want change, immediate delivery. Everything should be changed, overnight change, expectation. On the other side, we have the seasoned campaigners of democracy who know the tricks and trades of polling, election, and then parliaments and everything. And on the threshold is a retired Chief Justice.
Yeah.
How do you think she is going to, let's say, give this country a solution in this condition?
Yeah, no, she has had a really challenging job as Prime Minister. So on the one hand, you have the political parties were questioning her legitimacy. On the other, she has to deliver on her mandate. So it's a challenge. So I think she was chosen to be the Prime Minister based on the right instincts she had, and her integrity, and her identity as an anti-corruption crusader, even when she was a judge or Chief Justice and after she retired. So it's the integrity. So that is her only strength, that integrity. So I think, and of course, the president has full trust in her, although the president is constitutional. And in the political parties, there are sensible people who know that it is important to empower her for their own interest and to keep the country on track and to not let the constitution derail further. So I think, of course, as Prime Minister, it is her responsibility, but I would like to emphasize that it is also the responsibility of the political parties and the Gen Z representatives to empower this government, not to question. Of course, this government is interim and its mandate is finite and narrow. It doesn't mean that they can do, bad things. If they like appoint people which are bad, or if they just do things which is not in their mandate, there should be question. I'm not saying that this government, we should not question anything at all. But my point is, when they're doing well for the mandate, to deliver the mandate, it is everybody's responsibility to also empower this government, not to question.
So you mean to say that let's give this government a chance, and as you said, within the constitution, the only amicable way out at this point of time is the election. And even if the election, let's say, the date, let's say we revise the date, given that everybody comes on board, that is acceptable to you. Am I right if I say that?
Yeah, you are right. So what I said is, in terms of the postponement of the date, if something is really impractical, if they need a few weeks, say a month, for like logistic reasons, the election commission needs, and the political parties, oh no, because of whatever reason, if they all come on board and request the government, so it should come through the political parties. The government should not decide to postpone, but the political parties, if they request collectively, it's not a disaster to postpone for a month. I mean, that's my point.
So how hopeful are you about the future of this country, given all these things that we have discussed in the so far? At the earliest.
Yeah, it sounds like a cliche. I'm very cautious when I get optimistic. What I'm optimistic is about, I would like to talk about the first day of Gen Z protest. The youth who say, okay, it's too much and we're not just going to stay silent. And they committed themselves to intervene and take the country back in their hand. Look, this country belongs to me as much as it belongs to KP Oli, Sherbadu Deva, Pushpa Kamal Dal. That was the message of Gen Z protest. This country belongs to me. It doesn't belong to those who say they did a lot of sacrifice in the past and then went to the prison and did this political movement or that movement. Okay, if you did that, that's okay. But currently, this country belongs to every citizen equally. So the Gen Z protest, the spirit was to take back the country in the hand of where it should belong. So I think that spirit, it is evidence that if the same old style of governance will come back after the election, that's not going to sustain. I think that message is established clearly. That is where I see hope.
Overhauling the parties and also the system, let's say bureaucracy, for example. Would you only blame the political parties and the corrupt leaders for this mismanagement of the country, or do you think even our bureaucracy somewhere needs to be reassembled, reshaped, or at least made aware of these things?
It's both. Again, the first responsibility lies with the political parties. Say you have a prime minister who lets his minister take commissions because they need money for the parties. They say the money that goes to the party is for the country. That's how they've been, understanding. So everything starts at the political level, the political vision, and the honesty and the will, and also a program to improve or up-to-date the bureaucracy. What I'm trying to say is that the first responsibility is with the political parties, but there is a serious problem in Nepal's bureaucracy, civil service. In terms of public, even right from the time they recruit people and the public service delivery, the competence, there is a serious problem. But the point is, it should start politically. And, it's the parliament which has to make laws.
So if there is the willpower among the political parties and basically the leaders of those parties, things will automatically improve. That's what you mean to say?
It will be gradual, but things will definitely improve. Now, let's talk about why there is...
Does that apply to our interim prime minister right now?
Even for the given period they have, yes, it does. The thing is, for example, okay, you have a road and the road is not constructed well, then it doesn't last long, right? It's because, okay, there is commission. So who are the people working there? It's the bureaucrats, it's the technocrats, engineers, and the people like civil service members. But then the problem starts from the political level. from where, how the contracts are awarded on that. So it's all mixed. But the bureaucrats, they're not just going to say that like we're corrupt and we're incompetent and we're part of the system, we'll change. No, they will not say that. Who should do that? The politics. So in the election, I would at least like to see that in the coming election, that some political parties at least have a clear vision in terms of how to improve Nepal's civil service. Look, everybody knows the problem. Everyone knows there is corruption. And in which public offices, what kind of, it's a public knowledge. But in terms of how to control, there is no program. And the political parties, they don't come up with that. So at least because of Gen Z protest again, I think in the upcoming election, some political parties will have this as a prominent agenda.
In the next 3 years, where exactly do you see this Gen Z movement? Will there be a rise of another alternative force in this country?
I think what I can say from in my reading, what I can say with confidence is that the whoever will be elected and will come to lead the government will be constantly watched by the youth, by the society.
The earlier indifferent youth are now no more indifferent.
Yes. Some of these, like those who were active in the recent months, may be busy elsewhere, but there will be new ones. So the message is clearly established that every citizen will be watching for accountability, and it's not going to just go on as it did in the past.
Is there a risk of this Gen Z that is pretty loose and unorganized disintegrating in this political, let's say, quagmire? I'd love to say this because it's a mess for their level of understanding.
That's true. And again, like they were like spontaneous, individuals and small groups of people who are known as Gen Z, right? Those representative faces that we see. Some of them are really sensitive, and then I think they are also empowering others around them. So it doesn't have to be the same individuals who will be always there, constantly watching and questioning, if something goes wrong, but also defending when things are going right. So my point is, the new election and whoever will be elected, and the way the citizenry will watch the performance of that government, of the parliament, the incompetent previous parliaments, and what kind of people will come, how they will perform. I think everything will be watched much more closely, and they will
scrutinized.
So I think in terms of accountability, I think we'll get to a different, better level. I think that will be one outcome of the Gen Z protest.
My last question to you, Mr. Safkota. Instill hope in general public like me that this country will be transformed into an oasis in the next 5 years or 10 years, please.
No, I think we have a wonderful opportunity to get into that path of transformation, and the Gen Zs have laid that path. And the active intervention of the youth shows that Nepali society is vibrant. The status quo cannot just continue for long. So I think where I find hope, where I feel optimistic, is that our society is vibrant. It doesn't tolerate the status quo. Okay, that's why the message. Whoever gets the message, they will improve, reform. If not, there will always be new alternatives that will come up. So I hope in the coming election that we'll see a new parliament, where there are new faces, more young people, and new parties, and even from the old parties, there will be new leadership. I think from there, again, we should not expect that again in 5 years or 10 years, like Nepal will be like a rich, prosperous country and everything. At least if we are on a right track, if there is national confidence, and the youth of this country feel that they have future in this country, I think that would be something I would feel good about. And I think we have a good reason to believe that this is possible.
Thank you so much for your time, thought, and sharing with us at NTV World Declassified. Thank you so much, Mr. Safkota.
Thank you. Yeah, lovely talking with you.
We just tried to declassify Nepali political discourse at this point of time. Lot of questions, So much of uncertainty, but still a lot of hope, according to a seasoned political analyst, Mr. Vishnu Sapkota. Thank you so much for being part of this episode of Declassified. Until next time, from me, Devendra Subedi, goodbye.
Kathmandu has long been known as a place where natural beauty, history, culture, and spirituality come together in remarkable harmony. Rising above the western side of the valley stands Swayambhunath, one of Nepal's most revered and ancient sites. Many simply call it Swayambhu. For countless generations, it has been a sanctuary of spiritual devotion, a place where the first light of morning touches the prayer flags, and where monks and devotees begin their day in meditation and worship. Swayambhu is cherished by Buddhists from all over the world, yet it holds equal significance for many Hindus. This shared reverence creates a rare sense of unity within its sacred grounds. The origins of Swayambhunath stretch back at least 2.5 millennia. Inscriptions and centuries-old statues found throughout the site testify to its long-standing presence and its profound cultural importance. The stupa itself is one of Nepal's traditional religious landmarks, crowned by the serene eyes of the Buddha that gaze out across all 4 directions. These eyes are regarded as a message of compassion, awareness, and peace for all beings. For Buddhists, the stupa and its symbols become a guide toward understanding the teachings of the Buddha. For Hindu visitors, the temples and images of deities within the complex hold deep spiritual meaning of their own. In 1989, Swayambhunath was formally recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, an honor that elevated Nepal's cultural identity on the global stage and helped protect this extraordinary place for future generations. The surroundings of Swayambhu offer many places of interest. Pilgrims and travelers often find themselves captivated by the calm atmosphere and the panoramic views over the Kathmandu Valley. The architecture of the complex reflects a graceful blend of Nepali and Tibetan influences. The stupa follows ancient Nepali design traditions, while the monasteries and retreat houses that surround it reflect elements of Tibetan craftsmanship. These two styles together give Swayambhunath a distinctive character found nowhere else. Preserving Swayambhu is not only a religious responsibility, it is an effort guided equally by historical and cultural commitment. The temples, statues, and inscriptions within the complex carry stories that span centuries. The main stupa, crowned by the four compassionate eyes, remains the heart of the site. Monks gather each day to meditate and study. Within these halls, elaborate paintings and sacred sculptures portray episodes from the life of the Buddha and remind visitors of the spiritual traditions that continue to flourish here. The entrance to Swayambhunath features a gate designed to convey purity and reverence. Sculptures and painted figures on the gate reveal the guiding ideals of Buddhist philosophy. Scattered around the grounds are ancient inscriptions that preserve the history of the land. Statues of various Buddhas stand alongside images of Parvati and Shiva, creating a space where cultural diversity and shared devotion coexist with harmony. Swayambhunath is one of Nepal's most visited destinations. Its landscapes, spiritual gravity, and cultural richness draw people from around the world. Each year, millions of visitors, both local and international, climb the steps leading toward the stupa. Their presence contributes greatly to Nepal's tourism economy and to the livelihoods of those who live and work nearby. Quake of 2015 brought significant destruction to Swayambhunath. Several structures collapsed and many priceless sculptures were damaged. The impact on the site's cultural heritage was deeply felt throughout the country. Yet, The response to this tragedy revealed the strength of the community. Local residents, government agencies, cultural experts, monks, and international organizations came together to restore the complex. The rebuilding process became more than a physical reconstruction. It became a spiritual effort guided by devotion and the hope of preserving peace and compassion for future generations. Today, visitors find improved pathways, restored shrines, and safe spaces from which to explore the site. Nearby, guest houses and small hotels offer comfortable places to stay for those who wish to spend more time experiencing the surroundings. For many, Swayambhu is not only a religious landmark but a symbol of introspection and inner calm. The peaceful environment encourages reflection. The sacred presence of the stupa gives visitors a sense of quiet strength. The eyes of the Buddha seem to guide those who come seeking balance, clarity, or a moment of stillness. As the sun rises, its light glimmers on the golden pinnacle of the stupa. And as the night falls, the view of Kathmandu from this hilltop feels almost otherworldly, as though the city below is touched by a gentle glow. Swayambhunath continues to stand as a reminder of the spiritual harmony that has shaped Nepal for centuries. It invites every visitor to pause, to breathe, and to discover a deeper part of themselves.
प्राकृतिक, धार्मिक तथा सांस्कृतिक रूपमा धनी शैलुङमा तपाईलाई हार्दिक स्वागत छ। यहाँको भौगोलिक इतिहास निकै आश्चर्य लाग्दो छ। प्रथम बुद्ध साङ्गेले स्वर्गबाट झरेर प्रवचन दिनुभएकाले पहिले यस ठाउँलाई साङ्गेलुङ भनिन्थ्यो। पछि अपभ्रंश भएर शैलुङ भनिएको हो। यस ठाउँमा पाँचौं बुद्ध पद्मशम्भ बाएर लामो समय तपस्या गर्नुभएको किम्वदन्ती छ। हिन्दू धर्मको कहावत अनुसार पहिला ऋषि मुनिहरू यहाँ आएर तपस्या गर्थे। कलियुग सुरु भएपछि पाप देख्न नपरोस् भनेर प्रत्येक ठाउँमा ऋषिमुनि अलग भए र यी ठाउँमा थुम्का निस्किए। तपाई हामी अहिले यस्ता 108 वटा भन्दा बढी अवलोकन गर्न सक्छौं। यदि तपाई यी थुम्कामा पुग्नुभयो भने त्यहाँबाट नेपालका 60% हिम श्रृङ्खला हेरेर आनन्द लिन सक्नुहुन्छ। महालङ्गुर, रोलबालिङ, अन्नपूर्ण हिम श्रृङ्खलाहरू तपाईलाई हेरेर चम्किनेछन्। शैलुङले सिजन नै पछि आफ्नो रूप फेर्छ। तपाई हिउँदमा आउनुभयो भने हिउँसित खेल्न सक्नुहुन्छ। चैत वैशाखमा आउनुभयो भने गुराँससित मेतेरी लगाउन सक्नुहुन्छ। सैलुङमा तपाईँ 100 भन्दा बढी जडीबुटीको अध्ययन गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। चौरी डुलाउने प्रचलित ठाउँ पनि हो यो। यदि तपाईँ साबाखर्क भन्ने ठाउँमा बिहान पुग्नु भयो भने अवश्य चौरी गाई देख्न सक्नुहुन्छ। चौरी गोठमा पोसिलो चौरीको दुध पिउँदाको आनन्द अनि यहाँको छुर्पी तपाईँ अवश्य बिर्सनुहुन्न। लेकाली भेग भएकाले यहाँको अन्नबालीमा पनि विविधता देख्न सकिन्छ। 6 महिना लगाएर फल्ने यहाँका आलु मुडे लगिन्छ। यहाँबाट प्रचलित मुडेको आलु तपाईँ कहाँ आइपुग्छ। सैलुङको सांस्कृतिक विविधता पनि तपाईलाई रोचक लाग्ला। यहाँ बहुजातीय समाज छ। तामाङ, मगर, गुरुङ, छेत्री, बाहुन, थामी, नेवार आदिको मिश्रित समाजमा तपाईले मानिसहरू मिलेर गाउँ विकास गरेको देख्न सक्नुहुन्छ। अझै तपाईलाई साहसिक खेल मन पर्छ भने यहाँका गुफाहरूले तपाईलाई पर्खिरहेका छन्। यस्तो रोमाञ्चक ठाउँ काठमाडौँबाट 120 किलोमिटर दूरीमा मात्र छ। तपाईँ काठमाडौँबाट धुरीखेल, दोलालघाट, खाडी चौर, मुडे हुँदै दोलखाको यो रमणीय स्थल पुग्न सक्नुहुन्छ। खान बस्नका लागि यहाँका आधुनिक होटलहरू र हिँड्न डुल्नका लागि बनाइएका फराकिलो बाटोले तपाईलाई पर्खिरहेका छन्। सैलुङमा तपाईलाई फेरि पनि स्वागत छ।
मुन्डीमा नाना भाइसी रोगामी, मुन्डीमा नाना भाइसी रोगामी।
Tensions between India and Bangladesh are spiraling as violent protests erupt across the nations. Demonstrators have taken to the streets in Dhaka and border regions, accusing governments of failing to resolve disputes over trade, migration, and water sharing. Clashes with security forces have left dozens injured, with authorities deployed rear police and imposed curfews in several districts. The unrest is deepening a diplomatic crisis that threatens decades of cooperation between the two South Asian neighbors. India has expressed concern over attacks on its nationals, while Bangladesh accuses New Delhi of heavy-handed tactics at the frontier. International observers are urging restraint and dialogue, warning that without immediate steps towards reconciliation, the crisis could destabilize wider South Asia. Tragedy struck early Wednesday in Russian capital Moscow as an explosion killed at least 2 police officers and injured several others. Authorities say that the blast occurred near a security checkpoint, shattering windows and damaging nearby buildings. Emergency services rushed to the scene, cordoning off the area as investigators began searching for the cause of the explosion. While officials have not yet confirmed whether the incident was an attack or an accident, the Kremlin has vowed a full investigation. The deaths of the officers have sparked shock and grief across Russia, with tributes pouring in from colleagues and community members. Security has been tightened across the capital as authorities work to reassure residents and prevent further unrest. Libya's top military leaders have been killed in an air crash in Turkey. The country's army chief was killed in an air crash while on an official visit. Turkish authorities say the aircraft went down shortly after takeoff with no survivors reported among the passengers. The incident has sent shockwaves through Libya, where the army chief played a pivotal role in efforts to stabilize the nation after years of conflict. Officials in Tripoli have declared a period of mourning, while international observers warn the loss could deepen divisions within Libya's fragile security apparatus. Investigators in Ankara are working to determine the cause of the crash. Though early reports suggest mechanical failure may have been involved, investigators in Turkey have recovered the black box from the scene, a critical step in determining the cause of the deadly accident. Authorities say the device will be analyzed immediately to shed light on whether mechanical failure or other factors led to the air disaster. Regional leaders have offered condolences, underscoring the wider implications of the sudden death for both Libya's internal stability and its relations abroad. The crash marks a significant setback for a country still struggling to rebuild after a decade of turmoil. In Ukraine, an early morning attack has left 4 people injured in the city of Zaporizhzhia. Local officials say residential areas were struck, damaging homes and infrastructures as emergency crews rushed to the scene. The victims are receiving medical treatment, with authorities warning that the number of casualties could rise. The strike comes amid ongoing Russian assaults across eastern and southern Ukraine, where civilians continue to bear the brunt of the conflict. Zaporizhzhia, a strategic hub near the front lines, has faced repeated bombardments since the war began. Ukrainian leaders are calling for stronger international support, insisting that Russia's attacks are aimed at breaking civilian morale. The incident underscores the human toll of the war, as families in Zaporizhzhia wait to yet another day of destruction and uncertainty. In Sudan, residents returning to the capital, Khartoum, are facing a humanitarian emergency as the country's health system lies in ruins. Hospitals across the city remain shuttered or severely damaged after nearly 3 years of war between the army and the rapid support forces. Medical supplies are scarce, doctors have fled, and basic services are overwhelmed. Aid agencies warn that disease outbreaks, including cholera and malaria, are spreading rapidly among displaced families now crowding into makeshift shelters. With nearly 12 million people uprooted nationwide, Sudan is already enduring the world's largest displacement and hunger crisis. The collapse of healthcare in Khartoum adds a new layer of suffering, leaving civilians with little access to treatment as international relief struggles to reach those in need. Humanitarian groups are calling for urgent global action to prevent the crisis from spiraling further. In northern China, local authorities have moved quickly to safeguard residents as heavy snow blanketed the region on Monday and Tuesday. The severe weather disrupted major roads and brought plunging temperatures, raising concerns over public safety and transportation. Emergency crews were deployed to clear highways, de-ice bridges, and assist stranded motorists. Public transport operators worked around the clock to keep trains and buses running, while officials urged residents to limit travel and prepare for extreme cold. Schools in several provinces suspended classes, and shelters were opened to protect vulnerable communities. Meteorologists warned that more snow and freezing conditions could continue through the week, adding pressure on local governments already stretched by the winter storm. Despite the challenges, swift measures have helped to maintain order and prevent widespread accidents, underscoring China's preparedness in the face of severe weather. In Seoul, The South Korean government has established an interministerial task force to investigate a massive data breach at e-commerce giant Coupang. Officials describe the incident as more than just a leak of personal information, calling it a social crisis with far-reaching consequences. Millions of customer records are believed to have been compromised, raising urgent concerns about privacy, consumer trust, and national cybersecurity. The task force brings together ministries of justice, science, and interior to coordinate the probe and strengthen safeguards against future attacks. Authorities say they would hold Coupang accountable while also reviewing broader regulations to protect citizens in an increasingly digital economy. The breach has sparked public outrage and renewed debate over corporate responsibility in safeguarding sensitive data. With South Korea among the world's most connected societies, the government insists decisive action is needed to restore confidence and prevent similar crises from unfolding. In a landmark achievement, India's space agency has successfully launched its heaviest satellite to date. The mission, carried out from the Satish Dhawan Space Center, marks a major step forward in the country's growing space ambitions. Officials say the satellite is designed to enhance communication, navigation, and scientific research, strengthening India's position in the global space race. The powerful launch vehicle carried the massive payload into orbit, showcasing advances in engineering and boosting national pride. Experts highlight that the mission demonstrates India's ability to handle complex, high-capacity satellites, paving the way for future deep space exploration. The successful deployment is expected to expand connectivity across the nation and provide critical support for disaster management, defense, and technological innovation. With this milestone, India continues to assert itself as a key player in international space exploration. The United States has denied entry visas to a former European Union official, Thierry Breton, and several others accused of orchestrating social media censorship. The move comes amid growing tensions over online freedom of expression and alleged attempts to silence political debate. U.S. officials say the individuals targeted were involved in policies that restricted digital platforms and suppressed dissenting voices. The visa ban is part of a broader push by Washington to hold foreign actors accountable for what it calls violations of free speech and democratic norms. European countries have criticized the decision, warning it could strain transatlantic relations at a sensitive time. The State Department insists the measure is necessary to protect fundamental rights and to send a clear message against censorship. The controversy highlights the widening global divide over how governments regulate online content, with the United States taking a hard line against restrictions it views as politically motivated. In Vietnam, Con Dao National Park is being recognized for its remarkable journey towards sustainability. The park began its official green list process in 2020, but conservation efforts on the island stretch back more than 3 decades. Local authorities, organizations, businesses, and residents have worked together to protect biodiversity while promoting sustainable development. The collective action has raised public awareness, changed daily habits, and transformed Con Dao into a green, clean, and beautiful destination. Meeting international standards set by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the park now stands as a model for balancing environmental protection with community growth. Conservationists say Con Dao's success story demonstrates how long-term commitment and cooperation can safeguard natural heritage while ensuring a sustainable future for generations to come. High above the Colombian capital of Bogota, the iconic Montserrat mountain has been transformed into a dazzling Christmas spectacle. The 2025 installation, titled Lights of the World, takes visitors on a luminous journey inspired by 11 countries, blending cultural motifs with vibrant illuminations. Thousands of twinkling lights guide visitors along a festive route, offering breathtaking nighttime views of the city below. Organizers say the display is designed to celebrate global unity and the spirit of the holiday season. Families, tourists, and pilgrims alike are flocking to the mountain to witness the dazzling show, which has quickly become one of Bogota's most anticipated seasonal traditions. The exhibition will remain open till January 12, 2026, giving residents and visitors alike a chance to experience the capital's skyline bathed in festive brilliance. For many, Montserrat's glow is more than decoration. It is a symbol of hope and togetherness at the close of the year.
विश्वको सबैभन्दा लामो पदयात्राको रूपमा रहेको मिथिला माध्यमिक परिक्रमा निकै नै पौराणिक तथा धार्मिक परिक्रमा हो। यो परिक्रमाको 15 दिने यात्रामा यात्रुले नेपालको 115 किलोमिटर र भारतको 28 किलोमिटर गरी जम्मा 143 किलोमिटर यात्रा गर्ने गर्दछन्। यसमा नेपालको 11 तथा भारतको 4 गरी जम्मा 15 पडाव पर्दछ। पडावमा पुगेपछि बास पनि बसिन्छ। नेपालका 11 पडाव मध्ये महोत्तरीमा 5 र धनुषामा 6 वटा पडाव पर्दछ भने भारतको मधुबनी जिल्लामा 4 वटा पडाव पर्दछ। यो परिक्रमालाई मिथिलामा महाकुम्भ पनि भनिने गरिन्छ। फाल्गुन औँसीका दिन धनुषाको ठेरा कचुरी स्थित मिथिला बिहारी मठबाट अवध बिहारी श्रीरामको प्रतिमा राखिएको डोला बोकिएपछि यात्रा प्रारम्भ गरिन्छ। भगवान श्रीरामको डोला जनकपुर पुगेपछि अग्निकुण्ड स्थानबाट निस्कने श्री किशोरीजीको डोला मिसिएपछि यात्रा औपचारिक रूपमा प्रारम्भ हुने परम्परा छ।
यो हामीहरूको लाग्छन् कि करिब करिब यसको इतिहास चाहिँ 100 वर्षभन्दा पनि माथि होला, 100-200 वर्षभन्दा पनि माथि होला। जुन मिथिला बिहारीबाट सुरु भएछ कचरी भन्ने ठाउँको एउटा महात्मा हुनुहुन्थ्यो। उहाँले चाहिँ यो परिक्रमा माध्यमिक परिक्रमा चाहिँ सुरु गरियो।
भगवान राम र जगत जननी सीताको प्रतिमा राखिएको डोलासँगै गरिने यो यात्रा मोक्षदायक, कल्याणदायक र आरोग्यदायक हुने हिन्दू मैथिल जनविश्वास छ। त्रेता युगमा श्रीराम र माता सीताले विवाह पश्चात मिथिलाका विभिन्न स्थानको भ्रमण गरेको सम्झनामा यो यात्रा गर्ने गरिएको मान्यता छ। यो यात्रा मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम श्रीराम र मिथिला नन्दिनी श्री जानकीको पद चिन्ह पछ्याउने यात्राको रूपमा गरिने यात्रा हो। यसमा नेपाल र भारतका गरी लाखौं श्रद्धालुले यात्रा गर्ने गर्दछन्। यो यात्राको उद्देश्य अभिष्ट आरोग्यता, कल्याण र मोक्षको कामना हो।
यो रामायण कालदेखि नै चल्दै आएको यो हाम्रो मिथिलाको माध्यमिकी परिक्रमाले धेरै निकै प्रभाव हाम्रो धार्मिक र सांस्कृतिक स्तरमा धेरै प्रभाव पार्छ। यस माध्यमिकी परिक्रमामा नेपालभरिको वा मिथिलाभरिको मात्रै नभई नेपाल, भारत लगायत तेस्रो मुलुक समेतको यात्रीहरू यसमा सहभागी हुन्छन् र लाखौँभन्दा लाखौँको सङ्ख्यामा उपस्थित हुन्छन्। यसमा हिन्दू धर्मावलम्बीहरूको लागि यो त्रेता युगदेखि नै चल्दै आएको यो माध्यमिकी परिक्रमा हो र यसमा साधु सन्त, गृहस्थ, परिवार, धार्मिक श्रद्धालुहरू सबै यसमा सहभागी हुन्छन्।
मिथिला महात्म्यमा वर्णन गरिएको मध्य परिक्रमाको सुरुवात 18औं शताब्दी भन्दा केही अगाडि भएको मान्यता छ। यो परिक्रमा फाल्गुन औँसीदेखि पूर्णिमासम्मको मध्यमा गरिने भएकोले यसलाई माध्यमिक परिक्रमा भनिएको हो। अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा गरिएपछि यो माध्यमिक परिक्रमा पूरा भएको मानिन्छ। अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमालाई पञ्चकोशी परिक्रमा पनि भनिन्छ। माध्यमिक परिक्रमा गर्न नपाएका वा नभ्याएकाले यो पञ्चकोशी परिक्रमाबाटै मोक्षको कामना गर्दछन्।
15 दिने परिक्रमाको महात्म जनकपुर धामको परिक्रमा छ। त्यो बेलाको कलानेश्वरबाट सुरु हुन्छन्, जुन राजा जनकको समयमा प्रथम द्वार थियो र 4वटा द्वारमा 4वटा उहाँले शिवलिङ्ग स्थापना गरेका थियो शिवजीको, जुन कलानेश्वर छ, जलेश्वर छ, बाटोमा आउँछ धनुषाधाम जाने बाटोमा छिलेश्वर आउँछन् अनि कपिलेश्वर आउँछन्। यो सबै चाहिँ हाम्रो मिथिला महात्मा अनुसार यो माध्यमिक परिक्रमा अन्तर्गत पर्छ। त जहाँ जानकीजीसँग जोडिएको त्यो बेलाको उहाँको स्थलहरू छन् जहाँ अनेक लीला गर्नुभएको छ। त्यो स्थलहरू घुम्दै यहाँ 15 दिनमा यहाँ प्रवेश हुन्छ र यहाँ अन्त्यगृह गरेर अनि परिक्रमाको पूर्णाहुति समाप्त हुन्छ।
15 दिने परिक्रमाको जे फल प्राप्त हुन्छ लगभग त्यो चाहिँ जानकीजीको भूमि भएको हुनाले, जनकजीको भूमि भएको हुनाले त्यो अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा मात्रै त्यो गर्दाखेरि त्यसको फल त्यो प्राप्त हुन्छ। यहाँलाई एउटा कुरा जानकारी दिउँ, त्यो के हो भनेदेखि यो चाहिँ अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमामा को विकासमा सबभन्दा ठुलो योगदान मौनी बाबाको हो। यहाँ मौनी बाबा एकजना हुनुहुन्थ्यो। त्यो मौनी बाबाले त्यो चाहिँ रिङ रोड अहिलेको भाषामा भनौँ र त्यो चाहिँ परिक्रमा क्षेत्र जुन छ त्यो सडकको दुवैतिर त्यो रुखहरू लगाउनु भएको त्यो चाहिँ मौनी बाबाले हो। र एउटा अचम्मको कुरो छ र रोचक कुरो पनि के छ भनेदेखि यसको नाउँ हेर्नुहोस्, अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा भनेको अन्तर्नगर परिक्रमा होइन, यो अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा हो। त त्यो चाहिँ त्यसको आशय के छ भनेदेखि कि प्रत्येक मिथिलावासी बहुत पवित्र छन् र यहाँ जन्म लिनु नै बहुत सार्थक र अत्यन्त पुण्यको कुरो हो। त्यसले आफ्नै घरको पनि परिक्रमा हुन्छ। त्यो हामी जति छौँ यहाँ बस्नेहरू त्यो अन्तर्गृहको परिक्रमा पनि गर्छौँ। त त्यो चाहिँ अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा त्यो धार्मिक दृष्टिले यसको महत्त्व त्यो मिथिला महात्म्यका ग्रन्थहरू जति छन् ती सबै ग्रन्थहरूमा हामीले पाउने गर्दछौँ।
कौचरीको मिथिला बिहारी जनकपुरको सुन्दर सदन मन्दिरबाट किशोरीजी र राम जानकी सहित जनकपुरको अन्य डोला हनुमान गढीबाट सुरु गरिने माध्यमिक परिक्रमा भारतको कल्याणेश्वर गिरिजा स्थान हुँदै चौथो दिन महोत्तरीको प्रसिद्ध पौराणिक लक्ष्मी नारायणको मठ रहेको मटिहानी आइपुग्दछ, जहाँबाट पुनः नेपालका विभिन्न स्थानहरूको परिक्रमा सुरु हुने गर्दछ। मटिहानी महोत्तरी जिल्लामा पर्ने 5 पडावहरू मध्येको पहिलो पडाव पनि हो। भगवान राम र माता सीताको विवाहमा यज्ञवेदी निर्माण गर्दा यही मटिहानीबाट माटो खनी लगिएको धार्मिक विश्वास रहेको छ।
जनकपुरको हनुमानगढीबाट विधिवत प्रारम्भ हुन्छ। यसको सबै ठाउँमा परिक्रमावासीहरू बस्ने अथवा डोला बस्नेको सबैको आफ्नो आफ्नो धार्मिक महत्त्व छ र यो मटिहानीको पनि एउटा विशेषता के हो भने यहाँ राजगुठी पहिला लक्ष्मीनारायण मठ र एउटा रामायणकालीन इतिहाससित जोडिएको कारणले गर्दा मटिहानीमा राम र जानकीको बिहा हुँदाखेरि बिहाको यज्ञवेदी निर्माण गर्नलाई यहाँबाट माटो खनेर लगेको एउटा धार्मिक विश्वास भएको कारणले गर्दा परिक्रमा पनि यहाँ आइपुग्छ। यो रामायणकालीन इतिहास र धार्मिक महत्त्व भएको कारणले गर्दा विशेष गरी यहाँ आइपुग्छ र यस पछाडि जलेश्वरनाथ आराध्य देव जलेश्वरनाथको नगरी पुगिन्छ। सबैको आफ्नो आफ्नो धार्मिक विशेषता छ। मटिहानीको पनि रामायणकालीन धार्मिक महत्त्व भएको कारणले गर्दा डोला यहाँसम्म आइपुग्ने गरेको छ।
पाँचौं दिन बिहानै मटिहानीबाट यात्रुहरू आराध्य देव जलेश्वरनाथको नगरी जलेश्वरको लागि प्रस्थान गर्दछन्। जलेश्वरबाट मडै ध्रुवकुण्ड हुँदै 8औं दिन परिक्रमा कञ्चनवन पुग्दछ। कञ्चनवन महोत्तरी जिल्लाको अन्तिम पडाव पनि हो। पौराणिक कालमा भगवान राम र माता सीताले यस ठाउँमा नित्य होली खेल्ने गरेको धार्मिक मान्यता पनि छ।
तुलसीदासले भन्नुभएको छ कि रामायण शतकोटि अपार, अपार किसिम धेरै किसिमका रामायणहरू छन् र रामकथाहरू पनि अनेक छन्। मिथिलाको जुन कथा छ त्यो चाहिँ लोक आस्था मात्रै, किंवदन्ती मात्रै हो। त्यो चाहिँ कुनै अन रेकर्ड त्यसलाई खोज्नुहुन्छ भने पाउनुहुन्न। त्यो हाम्रो विश्वास के छ भने कि सीता र राम जब घुम्दै थिए डोलामा, सबैसित भेट्दै थिए यो बेलामा, होलीको बेलामा, अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ सबभन्दा पहिले कञ्चनवन राम खेर होरी कञ्चनवन, त्यो चाहिँ आरम्भ त्यो चाहिँ त्यहीँदेखि हो।
यहाँ मिथिला महात्मा पनि छन् र हाम्रो रामायणहरूमा पनि छ। 4वटा वन थियो, 10वटा उपवन थियो। त 4वटा वन मध्येको कञ्चन वन जुन थियो त्यसमा भगवानको होली महोत्सव भएछ। जानकीजीसँग राम जब बेहुला भएर यहाँ एउटा वैवाहिक सम्बन्धमा गाँच्नुभयो अनि एउटा यहाँ 6 महिना बस्नु भएछ जनकपुरमा। त्यो बेला र जनकपुरमा 6 महिना बस्दा ससुरालीको एउटा आनन्दले होली महोत्सवको बेलामा चाहिँ कञ्चन वनमा गएर यहाँको जति पनि उहाँको सखी, यहाँको जति पनि जनकपुरवासी थियो त्रेतायुगमा उहाँ सम्पूर्णसँग त्यहाँ चाहिँ सीताजीसँग होली खेलेको एउटा घटना छन् जुन अहिले पनि परिक्रमामा त्यो हामीहरू त्यहाँको त्यो आनन्द त्यही गर्छौँ।
सोही सम्झनामा उक्त ठाउँमा परिक्रमा आइसकेपछि होली खेल्ने परम्परा छ। त्यस ठाउँमा पुगेका तीर्थयात्रु तथा भक्तजनले एकअर्कालाई रङ अबिर लगाएर होली खेल्ने गर्दछन्। सो होलीको आयोजना बृहत्तर जनकपुर क्षेत्र विकास परिषद, भङ्गहा नगरपालिका, जनकपुरका सुन्दर सदन लगायतका संघ संस्थाले संयुक्त रूपमा गर्ने गर्दछन्। कञ्चनवनबाट 9औं दिन बिहानै हिँडेका तीर्थयात्रीहरू धनुषाको पर्वत अर्थात् छिरेश्वरनाथ महादेव स्थान हुँदै धनुषा धाम, सतोखर, औरही, भारतको बिहार स्थित करुणा स्थान हुँदै जनकपुर पुग्दछन्।
महात्मा उल्लेख भएअनुसार कलानेश्वर आरभ्य निवसेद गिरिजालय, कलानेश्वरमा सुरु गर्ने र गिरिजा स्थानमा बस्ने, त्यसपछि तृतीयायाम मृतखनी, यो तृतीया तिथिको दिनमा यहाँ लक्ष्मीनारायणको मठ र संस्कृत विद्या प्राच्य विद्याको धरोहर, बासवासी परिक्रमा जलेश्वर आरम्भेत कलानेश्वर निवसेत जलेश्वरे, ततः परम क्षीरेश्वरम, ततः परम सतोखर धाम। यो 15 दिनको जो परिक्रमा हुन्छ यसमा तपाईको चतुर्दशीको सबै जम्मा हुन्छन् र 15 दिन जम्मा अमावास्याको कलानेश्वरमा आएर जम्मा हुन्छन् प्रतिपदा तिथिको, र द्वितीयाको तपाईको गिरिजा स्थान आउँछन्, तृतीयाको मटिहानीमा निवास गरेर यो हजारौं साधु सन्तहरू गृहस्थहरू यसमा देश विदेशका दर्शनार्थीहरू, गृहस्थ सन्यासी विद्वान र आम सर्वसाधारणहरू चौथी तिथिको बाबा प्रसिद्ध जलेश्वरनाथ महादेव स्थान जलेश्वरमा गएर बस्छन्। त्यसै 5औं दिन माण्डव्य आश्रम जो मरै हो भन्ने ठाउँ त्यहाँ निवास गर्छन् र छैटौं दिन ध्रुवकुण्ड, र 7औं दिनमा तपाईको ध्रुवकुण्डबाट कञ्चनवनमा जहाँ चाहिँ होली खेल्नु भएको छ राम सीताजीले, र त्यसपछि सतोखर 7वटा ऋषिको आश्रम छ, सतोखर धाम महादेव त्यहाँ बस्छन्। त्यसपछि पर्वता अनि धनुषा धाम अनि औरही र करुणा बिसौल हुँदै 15औं दिनमा जनकपुर आइपुग्छन् र यो अन्तिम परिक्रमा गरेर के गर्छन् त समाप्ति हुन्छन्। जसले बृहती परिक्रमा गर्न सकेको छैन त्यो 5 दिनको परिक्रमा गर्छ, र जो 5 दिनको पनि गर्न सक्दैन उनीहरूको लागि यो अन्तगृही छ, अन्त्यगृही, यस्य अन्तगृही परिक्रमा गरेर परिक्रमा समाप्त हुन्छ।
यो जनकपुरको हनुमान नगरबाट प्रारम्भ भएर भारतको कलानेश्वर, त्यस पछाडि फुलहर, मटिहानी, जलेश्वर, मडै, ध्रुवकुण्ड, कञ्चनवन, त्यस पछाडि सतोखर, औरी, त्यस पछाडि फेरि पनि कलानेश्वर पुगेर चाहिँ यो जनकपुरको अन्तगिरी परिक्रमामा सम्मिलित भएपछि यसको चाहिँ समापन हुने गरेको छ।
यात्रीहरू जनकपुर आइपुगेको दिन अर्थात् 15औं दिनको राति होलिका दहन गर्ने र भोलिपल्ट धुरी उडाउने गरिन्छ। होलिका दहन र धुरा उडाउने सत्ययुगकालीन घटना स्मरण गरिएको विश्वास गरिन्छ। दानवराज हिरण्यकीय सिपुले विष्णुभक्त छोरालाई मार्न आगोले नपोल्ने अभय वरदान पाएकी बहिनी होलिकाको काखमा छोरा प्रहलादलाई अग्निकुण्डमा राखिँदा होलिका आगोले भस्म भएकी पुराणमा वर्णन छ। विष्णुभक्त प्रहलादलाई भने आगोले छोएको थियो। परिक्रमाको अन्तिम राति सोही घटनाको सम्झनामा दानवीय प्रकृतिकी होलिकाको अन्त्य भएको सम्झनामा उनको आकृतिलाई आगो लगाउने हिन्दू मैथिल परम्परा छ। भोलिपल्ट होलिका दहन गरिएको खरानीको धुलो उडाएर राक्षसी प्रवृत्ति अन्त्य भएको खुसियाली मनाइएको पौराणिक कथालाई पछि धुरा उडाउने भनिएको मानिन्छ। होलिका दहनको भोलिपल्ट जनकपुरको अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा गरी यो यात्रा टुङ्गिन्छ। हरेक पाइलामा अश्वमेघ यात्रा बराबरको फल प्राप्त हुने मान्यताका साथ अन्तर्गृह परिक्रमा गरिने गरिन्छ।
यो ठाउँमा वास्तवमा प्रत्येक पाइलामा अश्वमेध यज्ञ भएको चर्चा हामीले पौराणिक ग्रन्थहरूमा पाउँछौँ। हरेक पाइलामा। त्यसैले त्यो चाहिँ प्रत्येक पाइला हाम्रो निम्ति चन्दन हो र त्यो चाहिँ नसकेर मात्रै हो। यदि सक्ने हो भनेदेखि यहाँ त खुट्टाले हिँड्नै हुँदैन, टाउकोले टेकेर हिँड्नुपर्छ। त्यस्तो पवित्र बाटो हो यो। प्रत्येक कण यसको चन्दन हो। त त्यसैले त्यो चाहिँ यो यात्रा फलदायी हुन्छ।
परिक्रमाका यात्रीहरूले यात्रा पश्चात पिडारी चोकमा रहेको गोरधुवाई पोखरीमा आफ्नो खुट्टा पखाल्ने गर्दछन्। माता सीताले सो पोखरीमा आफ्नो खुट्टा पखालेको किम्वदन्ती छ।
गोरधुवाई पोखरीको यस्तो छ परम्परा, हामीहरूमा भन्छन् जानकीजीले नगर जुन बेला घुम्नु भएको थियो त्यो बेला त्यहाँ गएर आचमन र चरण चाहिँ धुनु भएको थियो। अनि त्यो हिसाबले यो नगरकै परिक्रमा हो। त अहिले त्यही गर्छन्, त्यहाँ गएर आचमन यहाँ हात खुट्टा धोएर अनि मुखमा चाहिँ आचमन जल छर्किन्छन्, किनभने उहाँको चरणको चाहिँ जल हो त्यो सम्झेर। त्यहाँ अहिले पनि त्यही परम्परामा मिथिलावासी यहाँ भक्तजनहरू पनि गर्छन्।
परिक्रमा सकेको भोलिपल्ट मात्र मिथिलामा होली खेल्ने परम्परा छ। माध्यमिक परिक्रमाको स्वरूप अनौठो छ। बिना निम्तो यसमा लाखौं भक्तजन सहभागी हुने गर्दछन्। सहभागी यात्रीहरू यात्रा अवधिभर खाली खुट्टा नै हिँड्ने गर्दछन्। ढोलक, झायल, करताल, हार्मोनियमको तालमा कीर्तन मण्डली नाच्छन्। जय सिया राम भन्दै भगवानको महिमा गाउँदछन्। यो संगीतमय वातावरणले जो कोहीलाई पनि मन्त्रमुग्ध बनाउँछ। मानिसहरू वर्षभरिका दुःख बिर्सिन्छन्। गृहस्थी जीवनबाट समय निकाले भगवानप्रति आस्था राख्नेहरू तीर्थयात्रामा सामेल हुन्छन्। परिक्रमा आउनु अगावै यसको तयारीमा भक्तजनहरू जुट्दछन्। मानव नै भगवान हो। दुःख परेकालाई सहयोग गर्दा, भोकालाई भोजन गराउँदा पुण्य प्राप्ति हुन्छ भन्ने मान्यता राखेर स्थानीय स्वयंले यात्रीहरूको लागि खाद्यान्न, खानेपानी तथा स्वास्थ्य उपचारको व्यवस्था गरेका हुन्छन्।
स्वास्थ्य शिविर राम्रो छ। हामीले स्वास्थ्य शिविरमा पनि प्रेसरहरू जचायौँ। खाना ओर्न ठाउँ ठाउँमा चिया, पानी, नास्ता सबै बाँडिरहेको छ। हामीले केही उहाँहरूले गरेको पानीहरू पनि युज गर्यौँ। कति ठाउँमा लिनलाई अलिकति मिलेन, कति ठाउँमा लियौँ। स्नान गर्दै गर्दै अनि हामी आयौँ। राम्रो लागिरहेछ।
यात्रीको स्वागत गर्न स्थानीय सबै एकजुट भएर लाग्दछन्। एक विश्राम स्थलबाट अर्को विश्राम स्थल जाँदा स्थानीय सरकार, स्थानीय विभिन्न सङ्घ संस्था लगायत सडकमा लामबद्ध हुन्छन्। उनीहरू परिक्रमाका यात्रीहरूलाई भव्य स्वागत गरेर आफ्नो ठाउँमा भित्र्याउँछन् भने भोलिपल्ट हर्ष बढाई गर्दै विदाई गरेर अर्को विश्राम स्थलमा पठाउँछन्। यात्री तथा धर्मावलम्बीहरू वर्षभरि भएका सबै क्रोध, झै झगडालाई बिर्सिँदै धार्मिक मेलामा रमाउँछन्। विशेष गरेर ज्येष्ठ नागरिकहरू परिक्रमामा सहभागी हुन्छन्। मिथिलामा छोरा बुहारीहरू घर व्यवहार सम्हालेपछि जीवनमा कम्तीमा पनि एक पटक माध्यमिक परिक्रमा गर्ने इच्छा हुन्छ। अधिकांश सहभागी 15 दिनको सामल, लत्ता कपडा, औषधि आदि सँगै बोकेर हिँड्छन्। साधुहरू भने आफूसँग आफ्ना गाई, घोडा, बाँदर सहित परिक्रमा गर्दछन्। यो परिक्रमाले आन्तरिक तथा बाह्य पर्यटनलाई समेत बढावा दिएको छ।
हामीले सांस्कृतिक पर्यटनको दृष्टिले समृद्धिका कुरा गर्छौँ नेपालको प्रसङ्गमा। यसले चाहिँ त्यो आर्थिक समृद्धिलाई पनि, किनभनेदेखि त्यो धेरै ठाउँका मान्छेहरू सम्मिलित हुन्छन्, त्यो चाहिँ पर्यटनको विकास हुन्छ। त्यो एउटा चाहिँ पाटो। अर्को चाहिँ नेपाल भारतको सम्बन्धको दृष्टिले पनि यो अत्यन्त नै बलियो सूत्र हो, जसले चाहिँ दुवै देशलाई भावनात्मक रूपले बाँध्दछ। जसरी खोलाको कुनै सीमा हुँदैन, जसरी त्यो चाहिँ आकाशको, इन्द्रेणीको कुनै सीमा हुँदैन, त्यसै गरेर नै त्यो संस्कृतिको कुनै सीमा हुँदैन। त्यो चाहिँ राजनीतिक सीमा भिन्न कुरो हो, सांस्कृतिक सीमा एउटा भिन्न कुरो हो। त्यसैले चाहिँ सम्पूर्ण मिथिलाञ्चललाई त्यो चाहिँ समेट्ने गर्दछ यस परिक्रमाले। अन्तर्गतीय परिक्रमाले पनि त्यो माध्यमिक परिक्रमाले।
यसले नेपाल भारत बीचको सम्बन्धलाई पनि बलियो बनाएको छ। यसले नेपाल र भारतको बीचको रोटी बेटीको सम्बन्धलाई संरक्षण, सम्वर्धन तथा प्रवर्धन गर्दछ। मिथिला परिक्रमा हाम्रो संस्कृति, हाम्रो सभ्यता हो। यस्ता संस्कृति र सभ्यताको संरक्षण, सम्वर्धन तथा प्रवर्धन गर्नु सरकारको मात्र नभई हामी सबैको दायित्व पनि हो।
Bhutan has been a fantastic trip so far. People come here mainly for the main target species, and because birds are more easily seen.
Yungi khato ine training khandi gyamdi de auto chi jinsomdi de najimbale ta miselde nami sam phento yoro shin.
In the valley nestled beneath the sky, where the snowy mountains reach high, the Sukteng Wildlife Sanctuary grows with life. The land of Yeti, as the people of Sakteng calls it, with tales and myths that flow through the unique culture of nomadic tribes in eastern Bhutan.
This part of Bhutan is the home to the Brokpa people, an ethnic minority of yak herders who migrated from southern Tibet in the 13th century.
The pastoral community was once home to a man with a dream. However, tragedy took place when the man was a victim of a fatal car accident. His death had a devastating effect on his family. His daughter, Ngawang Chensom, had to give up on her education. Her mother, Leki Dema, grieved and felt sad for the challenges she is facing.
Rango ke intention yana lumbegi isu nalham thosong dazi ne chige hab to midi nilam nalama ton tanui ne chige hab to midi the same me am.
Why do I care so much for this place? Why am I supposed to stay here? I don't know what exactly is waiting for me in this sanctuary. There must be a reason why I cannot bear to leave my village. I live in harmony with the land, a timeless rhythm so great, and my paths, although unknown, and a life without hindrance that I grew up. As I travel across this land, I see the beauty, the clean air, the majesty of nature so difficult to ignore.
Ni sa then lu khan gamdi sing moto da ke na thukina or bethong sing tene besing shupsing the moto da ke thubina le yu thar ko gi am me la kang yu shen di inji da chi di thon prugu su me de mi che tu ka da me da ba tin de sim shon de yu kang yu de inji da chi de os nam so khal da os chogina.
Sakteng is a wild haven where red pandas, Himalayan black bear, snow leopard, and musk deer hide in the forests. This is a land of myths and mysteries intertwined in perfect harmony.
And my zone is, and then as we go higher up, we're going to get the trogopans and monals and blood pheasants. So it's people come here mainly for the main target species, and because birds are more easily seen in Bhutan than other parts. So Bhutan has got more charm to looking at the birds out here.
Rising in the early hours, my heavenly dream fades with the rising sun. Descending the stairs of my happy homestay, a familiar scene reminds me the wealth of our local handlooms.
They pop down church. Oh, don't was in time issues. Yeah,
in a closet, hidden away, lies my collection. Colorful and cheerful memories of costumes ready to play.
The mochi bina the body. Jamigi tun bodoksun the ponigi din or columba to Japanas.
Drawn by the sounds of music, I like to see a group of women dancing to the rhythm of old songs. It made me feel lost in the pace and movement of the dance. Getting back on track, singing and dancing really brings the sense of togetherness and love for the traditions in my community. While walking in the peaceful village of Sakting, I could not help but feel a sense of reverence in the air. Residents spoke about sacred religious sites dotting the landscape.
Crops struggle to survive in the mountains. Now, with the introduction of greenhouse, fresh vegetables are taking flight to serve visitors to Ngawang Chensom's homestay.
Through local delicacies in the local alcohol.
By adapting to the challenges of climate change and finding new ways to grow food sustainably, she contributes to securing a bright future for her community and the planet. All is well in the village of Sakting, but with a growing population and increasing number of shops, the pressure on waste management becomes a challenge. Ngawang's decision to stay at home reflects the value of the preservation of cultural heritage and natural resources. By promoting sustainable tourism, we can make tourism work for everyone and appeal to future generations.
This is my first time visiting any Asian country. I'm very impressed with the beauty of Bhutan, the landscapes, the mountains, the valleys. The people have been very friendly, and the weather's been nice for us. Everything's just been lovely here.
Although they bid farewell to this beautiful song, we could see their emotions that they do not express or hide. Here, everyone's eyes are sparkling and glowing with happiness. These people, their culture and their environment have touched Ngawang's heart that she will never forget to go back to her village with hopes and aspirations.
Pashupatinath is located in the eastern part of Kantipur city, approximately 5 kilometers away from Bagmati River. During the Lichavi period, the area surrounding Pashupatinath was known for animal rearing. This region includes Duasthali, Kuveshwari, Gaurighat, Chaba Hill, Ganesh Than, and Kotuwali, all of which are part of the Pashupatinath area. In 1979 AD, UNESCO designated Pashupatinath as a World Heritage Site. The blessings of Pashupatinath have been revered since ancient times, indicating the site's significance long before the Lichavi dynasty. The presence of Jyotirlinga, a sacred representation of Lord Shiva, is mentioned in one of the ancient texts, highlighting its historical and religious importance. In the Gopal Raj dynasty, King Supuspadev described Pashupatinath as Varna Vyavastha. Following Supuspadev, every subsequent king incorporated the name of Pashupatinath within their own names. King Vaskar Dev offered 3 kosh to Pashupatinath. Brishdev presented a Trishul, Dharmadev contributed a Brishjos, and Narendra Dev offered various kosh made from different materials. Finally, Jayadev offered a lotus to Pashupatinath. In 1473 BS, Jyoti Malla renovated Pashupatinath. The priest Nityananda initiated the removal of the 3-story structure of Pashupatinath and reduced it to a single story. Queen Ganga, the consort of Shiva Singh, had the Bhasa Bamsawali written, which is still present today. During the Malla dynasty, the offerings made by the kings to Pashupatinath can still be seen today. Among these offerings, Lord Shiva at Pashupatinath received a copper roof, and Chadi and Kamal. Finally, King Jai Singh presented a gold-made mekhla, and a grand jatra was conducted. The temple's extraordinary design is attributed to the cumulative contributions of successive kings, each leaving their mark by adding distinctive elements to its architecture. This rich history of royal patronage is the primary factor contributing to the exceptional and intricate design of this revered temple.
Christmas Eve being observed across Nepal and around the globe with prayers, lights and festive gatherings marking the birth of Jesus Christ. Nepal government intensifies dialogue with political parties. State parties appear ready for the March elections. Nepal's high-level judiciary commission formed to probe Gen Z protests summons top political leaders. Cold wave sweeps across Nepal's lowland Tarai Madhesh region, affecting daily life in at least 20 districts. ISRO successfully launches LV-M3-M6, placing India's heaviest commercial payload into orbit. And Nepal cricket team begins training ahead of ICC T20 World Cup. Can to finalize the team during the training session. Hello there, I'm Smita Gising Tamang and this is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours. Now the news in detail. Christmas Eve is being celebrated worldwide with prayers, lights and festive gatherings marking the birth of Jesus Christ. From New Zealand to the Americas, communities come together sharing messages of peace, hope and goodwill. In Nepal, Christians and people of all faiths are joining the celebrations with churches in Kathmandu, Pokhara and Dharan hosting carols, prayers and special services. Decorations, lights and festive markets bring joy to streets, reflecting the universal spirit of love and togetherness this Christmas Eve. With the March 5 House of Representatives election just days away, the government is intensifying efforts to engage political parties and avert a possible constitutional crisis. On Wednesday, the Dialogue Committee visited offices of fringe parties to create a conducive environment, addressing security and logistical concerns. The committee, formed under the interim government and coordinated with Minister Anil Sinha, aims to ensure broad party participation. The major concern for the parties is security and other logistics during the election, which, according to the minister, was duly addressed. The renewed effort from the government and its dialogue team comes as hope for all-party consensus on holding the election has risen. This we look on our cover story later today. As Nepal prepares for the March 5 federal parliament election, the cabinet-formed commission investigating the September 8-9 Gen Z protest has intensified its work. The three-member commission, led by retired Judge Gauri Bahadur Karki, has begun summoning top political leaders, including former Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak, to examine accountability and potential human rights violations. Investigations started at the ground level and are now moving up the chain of command, with plans to summon former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. The probe runs alongside the National Human Rights Commission's inquiries as authorities aim to restore public trust while election preparations move forward. A severe cold wave has swept across Nepal's lowland Tarai Madhesh region, affecting daily life in at least 20 districts. Western districts such as Kailali and Banki, along with several in Madhesh province, including Saptari, Siraha, Dhanusha, Sarlahi, Mahottari, Rohtahat, Bara and Parsa, have been hardest hit. The extreme cold, coupled with dense fog and frost, has forced school closures in some districts and disrupted air travel. Temperatures have fallen as low as 9 degrees Celsius in recent days, making conditions particularly harsh for vulnerable communities. Authorities have activated Nepal's Cold Wave Preparedness and Response Plan 2082, urging local administrations to provide emergency shelters in public buildings and temples. Relief efforts are underway to protect residents from the freezing temperatures and minimize disruption. India's ISRO has successfully launched the Bluebird Block 2 communication satellite aboard its LV-M3M6 rocket from Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh. The satellite, developed under a commercial deal with US-based AST Space Mobile, will provide high-speed cellular broadband directly to smartphones worldwide. The LV-M3M6, India's heavy-lift rocket, placed the largest commercial communications satellite ever deployed in low Earth orbit from India. With a lift-off mass of 640 tons, the rocket has a proven record, including Chandrayaan-2, Chandrayaan-3 and previous OneWeb missions. The Nepali cricket team has begun formal training in preparation for the ICC T20 World Cup. The Cricket Association of Nepal, CAN, has called 24 players from training from a preliminary list from which the final World Cup squad will be selected. The list includes key players such as Rohit Kumar Paudel, Sandeep Lamichhane, Kushal Purtel, Sompal Kami and Lalit Rajbanshi. Other players in the squad include Lokesh Bam, Binod Bhandari, Ishan Pandey and Rupesh Kumar Singh. Nepal has been placed in Group C of the tournament and will be participating in the T20 World Cup for the third time. CAN aims to finalize the team after assessing the players during the training session. Nepal government is stepping up efforts to bring political parties on board ahead of the March 5 parliamentary election to avoid a potential constitutional crisis. We delve on high-level dialogues, challenges, stakes and the push for consensus in our cover story of the day. Welcome back. You're with NTV World News Hour. The country needs parliamentary election to avert a possible constitutional crisis is not a secret. And who else than the political parties that are the essence of democracy know the fact. As the government is making renewed efforts to make the environment conducive by trying to bring them into confidence, the parties need to heed it to the call. Devendra Suvedi and Shivani Thapa brings more.
The government-formed Political Dialogue Committee on Wednesday visited the offices of the fringe political parties in a bid to create an enabling environment for the March 5 House of Representatives election. The official mandate of the government formed in the wake of the Gen Z movement on September 8 and 9 is to hold fresh elections, which is just a few months away. The interim government formed the committee in coordination of the Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, Anil Sinha, to engage political parties in view of the impending election. The major concern for the parties is security and other logistics during the election, which, according to the minister, was duly addressed. The renewed effort from the government and its dialogue team comes as hope for all party consensus on holding the election has risen.
निर्वाचनको वातावरण बनाउनको लागि हामी पनि स्वयं मुख्य राजनीतिक दलहरुकोमा जानुपर्छ भनेर हामीले नेपाली कांग्रेस, नेकपा एमाले, नेपाली कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी, त्यस्तै गरेर राष्ट्रिय स्वतन्त्र पार्टी, राप्रपा र जनमत पार्टी लगायतका मुख्य राजनीतिक दलहरुको कार्यालयमा गएर निर्वाचनको वातावरण बनाउन हामीले चाहिँ नि कोशिश गरेका छौं र हामीलाई के विश्वास भएको छ भने यसरी राजनीतिक दलहरुको कार्यालयमा जाँदाखेरि अहिले निर्वाचनको वातावरण बनेको छ र उहाँहरुसँगको भेटघाटले हामी उत्साही भएका छौं.
The only way out to the possible constitutional and political vacuum in the country is election. Making the environment amicable by addressing the security concerns of the parties is the government's task. The parties, on the other hand, should also be equally responsible and not merely doing lip service to bemuse the people. As Nepal prepares for the March 5 federal parliamentary election, efforts continue on two fronts: stabilizing the political transition and reinforcing institutional credibility. A cabinet-appointed probe commission has intensified its investigation into the September 8 and 9 Gen Z protests, summoning senior leaders to ensure accountability and restore public trust. Sabika Shrestha brings the report.
As Nepal gears up for the proposed March 5 federal parliament's election, political parties and the interim government cautiously are approaching the negotiations to stabilize the fragile transition. On the other side, the inquiry into the September 8 and 9 Gen Z protests and the incidents leading even up to criminal proportion intensifies. The cabinet-formed commission has started summoning the top leaders in an attempt to clarify accountability and restore public trust into state organs. Though the timing of the summoning of then Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak simultaneously with the ice-breaking parleys initiated by President Ramchandra Paudel that for the first time brought Prime Minister Sushila Karki with leaders of top three political parties. The leaders agreed in principle to create an environment conducive to holding elections, with President Paudel emphasizing that elections remain the only constitutional route out of the current crisis. While some viewed it as the right move of the president, others are skeptical whether the commission's summoning of then Home Minister Lekhak might pour cold water all over. Unlike a top-down approach, the commission deliberately began its investigation from the ground level, questioning those who witnessed and executed decisions on the ground before moving up the chain of command.
साँची देख्ने घटना देख्ने साँचीहरुको सम्बन्धमा समेत गर्दाखेरि हामी 150 प्लसमा चाहिँ हामीले उनका कागज बयान कागजहरु सोधपुछ कागजहरु घटना विवरणहरु लिइसकेका छौं अझै क्रम जारी छ त्यो चेन जोड्ने सिलसिलामा इन्भेस्टिगेसन भने तलैबाट गर्नुपर्छ माथिबाट गर्दाखेरि सुरुमा ल्यायो अब दुईटाले तत्कालीन प्रधानमन्त्री र गृहमन्त्रीले हामीले सुरुमा ल्याएको त मैले के पनि गरिरहेछन् भन्नुहुन्छ भने हामीले क्रस क्वेशन गर्ने ठाउँ कहाँ हुन्छ हुँदैन नि अब राजनीतिक नेतृत्व तत्कालीन गृहमन्त्री र प्रधानमन्त्री मात्र बाँकी हुनुहुन्छ र एकजना वर्तमान आईजीपी हुनुहुन्छ उहाँको सकिन्छ होला छिटो भइसकेपछि अब प्रतिवेदन तयार गर्नेतिर हामी लाग्नुपर्छ.
The stepwise investigation has now reached higher levels of political leadership. According to the Commission, preparations are underway to summon then Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. The three-member commission led by retired Judge Gauri Bahadur Karki is tasked with examining the chain of command and potential human rights violations during the crackdown. Its mandate, initially set for 3 months, was recently extended by 1 month. In a parallel process, the National Human Rights Commission has already questioned Lekhak and begun recording statements from other former Security Council members. As election preparations advance, the certainty of the March 5 polls will hinge on whether political leaders cooperate with interim government's effort to bring accountability in the system and build the much-needed public trust in the state. As the probe commission escalates from ground-level witnesses to top leaders, its way of handling these sensitive inquiries could make or break public trust and election credibility. Sapika Shrestha with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
Meanwhile, Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal has affirmed that there is no uncertainty about Nepal's upcoming election on March 5, stressing that holding the vote on time is crucial to prevent a return to conflict. Speaking at a Karnali province-level security conference in Birendranagar, Minister Aryal said the government formed after the Gen Z movement is committed to safeguarding the constitution and completing the election process, even amid ongoing national security challenges.
हाम्रो अहिले कुल रणनीति नै कुनै पनि अवस्थामा द्वन्द्व दोहोरिनु हुँदैन। द्वन्द्व हिंसात्मक द्वन्द्व दोहोरिँदाखेरि हाम्रो व्यक्तिगत सुरक्षाको प्रश्न त छँदैछ, तर राष्ट्रिय सुरक्षाको अवस्था पनि गम्भीर रूपमा चाहिँ खतरामा परेको हामीले देखिसकेपछि कुनै पनि अवस्थामा द्वन्द्व नदोहोरियोस्, स्थिति सामान्यीकरण बन्दै जाओस्। स्थिति सामान्यीकरण बन्दै गएपछि फेरि विधिको शासनको पूर्ण रूपमा बहाली होस् भन्ने उद्देश्य अनुसार नै हामीले काम गरेका छौं।
Nepal's two major political parties, Rashtriya Prajatantra Party and Rashtriya Prajatantra Party Nepal, have agreed to merge. The agreement was signed by the party leaders at the RPP central office in Dumbarai, with a unification ceremony scheduled for January 16 in Kathmandu. RPP Nepal chairman Kamal Thapa shared a photo with RPP chairman Rajendra Lingden on social media, confirming the merger and describing it as a joyful decision for all. Thapa, who left the party in January 2022 after losing a party convention to Lingden, will now reunite with the party after nearly 5 years. Nepal's Supreme Court has decided to hold a collective hearing on multiple writ petitions seeking the reinstatement of the dissolved House of Representatives. A constitutional bench led by Chief Justice Prakash Man Singh Raut and including 4 other senior justices will hear a total of 57 petitions, including supplementary petitions filed by 8 former Nepali Congress lawmakers. The petitions lodged by lawmakers including Nepali Congress Chief Whip Shyam Kumar Gimre and Whip Sushila Thing call for the restoration of Nepal's lower house of parliament. Written responses have already been submitted by the President's office, the Prime Minister's office, the Speaker and other involved parties. At a time when the authorities and even the political parties are gearing up for March 5 polls, we asked the people if they think the polls will be held on time. Let's take a look.
For the current situation that we are going around, that is almost uncertain what will happen to the nation next, and in that context I believe that election is the only way out of this uncertainty and to drive the nation towards a better position and to bring all the parties together and for the betterment of nation. The election is must.
I personally think the election is bound to happen because the interim government was only formed because the current government had dissolved. So to tackle the problems, ongoing problems, I think the election has to happen and hopefully it will.
Personally, I'm very optimistic about it. As we know, Nepal has gone through transitions before as well. If the political parties act respectfully and respect the democratic rules, I think there will be a successful election ahead.
I'm really excited about the upcoming election. Personally, I also think that it needs to be happen because the because the new phase are coming up. We are being ruled by all those old so-called parties. So I think we need to respect the change, and then the latest news between the new faces, and then the collaboration between the new faces. I'm really excited about it.
So I'm pretty sure about the upcoming election because it stands as the voice of youth all over the Nepal. So I believe the country and the political not the political parties, but the people will support the upcoming elections.
Looking into the current circumstances and the political disagreement, I don't think it would be feasible to do the election on the scheduled date, but let's hope.
Despite the current situation of the government, I think the election should happen with the public support.
In my opinion, I think there is no other option for us as a country, Nepal, for the election. The election must happen by any cost. I think there would be some difficulties in the execution of the election, but I think overall at the end it will be a successful election.
With the coalitions of public and other political parties, I think the election is definitely happening.
According to this situation, I am not sure that the election will occur in Nepal due to unstable political parties, due to delayed decisions among the government. I am not sure that the election will occur in this scenario.
Christmas Eve is being celebrated across the world and here in Nepal with lights, carols and festive gatherings filling streets and homes. From worldwide celebration to Kathmandu's lively Tamil and locals and tourists alike enjoying the season's joy, we take a closer look at these celebrations and what makes this Christmas special in our issue of the day. Christmas Eve is being observed across the world today with prayers, lights and festive gatherings marking the beginning of the Christian celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. The global celebration traditionally begins in the easternmost regions, including New Zealand, where churches and communities welcome Christmas with midnight services and carol singing. As the day moves westward, cities across Asia, Europe, Africa and the Americas are joining in the spirit with homes and public spaces illuminated and families coming together. While traditions vary from country to country, the message of peace, hope and goodwill remains central to the celebration worldwide. Global leaders and religious figures have also extended messages of unity and compassion on this occasion. This evening in Nepal, Christians and people of all faiths are joyously marking Christmas Eve with heartwarming celebrations across the country. Churches in Kathmandu, Pokhara, Dharan and other cities are holding special services, carol singing and prayer gatherings that reflect both faith and community spirit. In recent years, Christmas in Nepal has grown into a widely embraced cultural celebration with decorations, lights and festive events becoming more visible in public spaces and local markets, especially in urban areas. Despite its minority status, the Christian community's traditions have found resonance with many Nepalese who appreciate the message of peace, love and the togetherness that defines the season. As families come together this Christmas Eve, the streets of Nepal echo with songs and laughter, capturing the universal joy of the holiday. Christmas Eve has brought Tamil, Kathmandu's bustling tourist hub, alive with lights, music and festive cheer, even in a country that is not predominantly Christian. Locals and foreign tourists alike are enjoying outdoor celebrations, shopping and dining as the city comes together in a vibrant display of community and seasonal joy. Diksha Avasti takes us through the Christmas Eve festivities in the heart of Kathmandu.
Christmas Eve is no different in major tourist hub like Tamil in the heart of Nepali capital Kathmandu, though the country is not predominantly Christian. Lights, live music, food stalls and merrymaking is in the air all around Tamil, but the occasion also offers marketing opportunities for traders. Irrespective of the religio-ethnic origin of the festival, Nepali people have a special way of soaking in the atmosphere through outdoor celebrations, social gatherings and vibrant public spaces. From busy markets to decorated cafes, the city has come alive with people stepping out to enjoy the season. Many are shopping for gifts, dining out, and taking advantage of festive discounts, while live music and Christmas decorations add to the cheer. Foreign tourists are exploring the city, hopping between events and celebrations, enjoying the warmth in the winter chill. They say the celebration here feels more community-driven, with people coming together in public spaces rather than staying indoors.
It's much more like family stuff in Europe. Like I know in Nepal, people they go out and they see friends and stuff. Where in my country they're more like it's more like a family dinner. So it's much more different. Like here the streets are very active. Where in Europe it's usually much more empty because everyone is at home.
Festivals like Christmas show how culture and commerce go hand in hand. From gift shops to mega malls, businesses are offering special festival packs to boost their sales. Restaurants and cafes are either pre-booked or already filled in with early birds, and helping the special menu day businesses thrive. At its heart, Christmas in Kathmandu is about good food, good company, gift exchanges, and making the most of the festive buzz the city has to offer. The city will not sleep on the eve like any other global city, and Ask the Foreigners' outdoor celebration is more vibrant here than many other Christmas celebrating cities.
You're tuning to NTV World, and this is the News Hour. Now moving on, the Department of Passport in Nepal has announced that it will now issue passports within 2 working days following the arrival of 396,000 new passport booklets to meet urgent demand. The department confirmed that it is now operating at full capacity, personalizing and distributing passports to applicants from districts, area administration offices and Nepali missions abroad. Applicants who submitted their request by December 1 can expect to receive their new passports by December 30, while subsequent applications will be processed and issued gradually. Authorities emphasize that passport distribution will now proceed smoothly thanks to the timely availability of new booklets. Earlier, the government had approved the procurement of 700,000 passport booklets to cover the interim period. This move is expected to significantly reduce delays for Nepalese both at home and abroad, ensuring faster access to international travel documents. Nepal has registered around 58% of its estimated 4.1 million farmers under the Farmer Registration Program as of mid-November, according to officials from the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development. More than 2.3 million farmers are now enrolled in the initiative. The program aims to connect farmers to an electronic information system, making it easier to provide access to services such as chemical fertilizers, seeds, grants and agricultural support. Farmers are classified into 4 categories based on income levels: livelihood, small scale, medium scale and large scale farmers. Registered farmers will receive identity cards which will serve as a gateway to grants and services. The system also collects integrated statistics including crop details, cultivated land area and other relevant data, while offering training and capacity building support to farmers, agriculture entrepreneurs and technicians. Cardamom is one of the major exports of Nepal for long, but the fluctuating market price has always kept the farmers at bay. The recent price hike has encouraged farmers in Bhojpur, eastern Nepal, to expand their small-scale cardamom cultivation to professional level. This year, cardamom price directly from the farm reached up to 2,500 rupees per kg, encouraging more farmers to expand production. Regina Rai with our local correspondent Ganesh Bista explain more on the matter.
Nepal is the global leader in the production of large cardamom, also known as black cardamom, contributing more than 50%, almost around 68% of the global sales. The country is a major exporter primarily to India, which re-exports the spice to international markets. Despite the challenges such as price volatility and plant diseases, the sector remains highly profitable and contributes significantly to Nepal's foreign exchange earnings. With black cardamom continuing to command strong market price, farmers in Bhojpur district of Eastern Nepal have grown increasingly optimistic. Black cardamom cultivation is deeply rooted in the cultural heritage and economy of Eastern Nepal. Consistent price increase in recent years has encouraged more farmers to invest more in cardamom cultivation. Harvested cardamom is now commonly sold directly from farmers' doorstep, helping reduce transportation and marketing cost. Local farmers say rising prices and improved market demand have motivated them to return to cardamom farming and expand their orchards.
योभन्दा विगत अगाडि चाहिँ अब निकै निम्नमा थियो अब भाउ पनि तल अनि मान्छेको उत्पादन पनि कमी नै थियो अब यो निरन्तर भाउ लगभग 4 देखि चाहिँ अलिकति भाउ आइराखेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि मान्छेहरू कृषकहरू चाहिँ उत्साहित छन्.
In Bhojpur district, large cardamom is cultivated across approximately 597 hectares of land. Popular local varieties such as Ramsahi, Golsahi, Dumbarsahi, and Jirmali are widely grown in the area. Often referred as the black gold of the hills due to its high value, it has been an integral part of farmers in the region for more than 150 years. In the last few years, the price of cardamom has risen by almost 400%. Nepal primarily exports large cardamom to India, which serves as a major re-export hub to the Middle East, including the UAE, Qatar and Saudi Arabia, Europe such as Germany and Italy, as well as the United States, Pakistan and Bangladesh.
International news coming up next. For now, a quick look at our top stories once again. Christmas Eve being observed across Nepal and around the globe with prayers, lights and festive gatherings marking the birth of Jesus Christ. Nepal government intensifies dialogue with political parties. States parties appear ready for the March 5 elections. Nepal's high-level judiciary commission formed to probe Gen Z protests among top political leaders. Cold wave sweeps across Nepal's lowland Tarai Madhesh region, affecting daily life in at least 20 districts. ISRO successfully launches LV-M3-M6, placing India's heaviest commercial payload into orbit. And Nepal cricket team begins training ahead of ICC T20 World Cup. Can to finalize the team during the training session. Libya's Army Chief of Staff General Mohammed Ali Ahmed al-Haddad was killed along with 7 others when a Falcon 50 business jet crashed near Ankara on Tuesday evening. The aircraft was bound for Tripoli, Libya, when it lost contact about 42 minutes after takeoff from Ankara's Esenboga airport, Turkish authorities said. The crash claimed the lives of 4 senior Libyan military officials and 3 crew members. Wreckage was later found southwest of Ankara, and investigators recovered the black box and voice recorder. Libyan Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Deiba described the incident as a tragic loss for the nation. The delegation had been in Turkey for high-level defense discussions. Initial Turkish reports suggest a possible technical or electrical malfunction, though the cause of the crash remains under investigation. Libya has declared 3 days of national mourning. Ukraine has secured concessions in a US-led 20-point draft plan to end the Russian invasion, President Volodymyr Zelensky said, though major territorial questions remain. The plan removes immediate demands for Ukraine to withdraw from Donetsk or recognize Russian-controlled land and allows for partial troop pullbacks with demilitarized zones. It also drops requirements to renounce NATO membership. Zelensky acknowledged some points are unfavorable, but called the proposal a potential framework for reducing hostilities, while Moscow's acceptance remains uncertain. It also got rid of demands that Kiev must legally renounce its bid for NATO membership. Zelensky presented the plan during a 2-hour briefing with journalists, reading from a highlighted and annotated version. The 17th round of ocean discharge of nuclear-contaminated wastewater from Japan's crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant was completed on Monday, Tokyo Electric Power Company or TEPCO confirmed. Since Japan unilaterally began discharging the wastewater into the ocean in August 2023, a cumulative total of approximately 133,000 tons has been released despite international concerns. This latest round, which started on December 4, was briefly suspended after a powerful earthquake off Aomori Prefecture on December 8 and resumed the following day. The TEPCO reported that 7,833 tons of wastewater containing around 2.4 trillion becquerels of radioactive tritium were released in this round. Looking ahead, the company plans 7 more rounds of discharge in the fiscal year 2025, totaling about 54,600 tons. Business news and sports update after the short break.
China has criticized a planned U.S. move to impose tariffs on Chinese semiconductor products starting in June 2027. The U.S. Trade Representative's office says the decision follows a year-long investigation into China's semiconductor industry, with details to be announced at least 1 month before implementation. Responding on Wednesday, China's foreign ministry said it firmly opposes what it called the misuse of tariffs and the unjustified suppression of Chinese industries. Beijing warned the measures could disrupt global supply chains and harm the worldwide semiconductor sector. China urged the United States to resolve differences through dialogue based on equality and mutual respect, and said it would take firm steps to protect its interest if the plan goes ahead. At Cambodia's top tourist attraction, Angkor Wat, visitor numbers have dropped sharply following weeks of military tensions near the Thai border. Local guides, drivers and vendors report steep income losses, with many tours cancelled and businesses struggling. Tourism officials say ticket sales at Angkor are down nearly 20% compared to last year, largely due to travel fears and closed overland border crossings. While international flights continue and some foreign visitors say they feel safe, regional travel has slowed significantly. Industry experts stress that Siem Reap and Angkor remain secure, but negative headlines and regional instability are damaging confidence. Authorities hope tourism will rebound once fighting ends and borders reopen. For Cambodia, where tourism is a key economic driver, a swift return of stability is critical. Pakistan has moved forward with the privatization of its national airline, Pakistan International Airlines, as the government looks to ease financial strain. In a live televised auction, the Arif Hub
Now the sports update. The National Sports Council of Nepal has discussed key preparations for the upcoming 10th National Games and the first Para-National Games, including the number of sports to be included and athlete quotas. The 124th board meeting, chaired by Youth and Sports Minister Bablu Gupta, who also serves as the Council's chair, decided that the Executive Committee will review and recommend the final list of sports for both events. The board also approved sending official correspondence to provincial and departmental teams to support competition preparations. In addition, the Council confirmed Nepal's participation in the 20th Asian Games, scheduled to be held in Japan in 2026. The board also approved the construction of the Genset Memorial Park in Sadabato to honor youth contributions. Time now for a quick look at the weather, first from across Nepal and then from around the world. And before we say goodbye, let's take a look at the reminder of our top stories once again. Christmas Eve being observed across Nepal and around the globe with prayers, lights and festive gatherings marking the birth of Jesus Christ. Nepal government intensifies dialogue with political parties. States parties appear ready for the March elections. Nepal's high-level Judiciary Commission formed to probe Gen Z protests amongst top political leaders. Cold wave sweeps across Nepal's lowland, the Rai Madhesh region, affecting daily life in at least 20 districts. ISRO successfully launches LVM-3M6, placing India's heaviest commercial payload into orbit. And Nepal cricket team begins training ahead of ICC T20 World Cup, can to finalize the team during the session. And that's it for this edition of NTV World News Hour. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. This is Smita Singh signing off. Thank you for staying with us. Good night.